Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Gets Teleported to the World of Remnant Part 2. Chapter 7. Aftermath and a train incident. Previously we saw the fight that took place between John and his former family. John was fighting against Miranda, overwhelming her with ease, until another sister by Alexa bound him, however that did not stop John, and he sent the girl flying. He was then ambushed by Alice by some projectiles which he dodged, and finally the second oldest sister Erica, after refusing to give the sword back. The mastermind of the attack showed up, who was Nicholas Ark. He was seen next to Jean Ark, who had a smug smile. However, before a fight would begin, Ozpin interrupted them, and John's teammates joined him. He informed him that there will be no fighting in his premises. Nicholas made the mistake of threatening his son, which made both John and Ruby nearly kill him. In the aftermath, a fight was decided between Team JIRI and the Ark clan. John and his opponent along with their teammates were having their match at the Emerald Forest, where John lured his father and his sisters to a trap, after which they were ambushed by Ruby, Issei and Ingvild. Issei decided to take down the twins, being Alexa and Alice. He punched Alice, eliminating her from the match, after which he focused on Alice, and with multiple martial arts, he took her down as well. Ingvild was facing against Miranda, dodging every single attack aimed at her. Ingvild was feeling bored and fired multiple water dragon barrages at the girl, eliminating her from the match. Ruby faced the oldest sister in the field, that being Erica. Erica was reluctant on fighting against Ruby, but she had no choice. She decided to knock Ruby out, but was unable to do so. Ruby finished her with ease, as she made a final request to look after her brother, which she accepted. John was facing the tag team of both Nicholas and Jean. He knocked Jean out of the fight first, and decided to deal with his father first. On his father's taunts, he unleashed his balance breaker, that being Stake Victim Dragoon. This was a bad thing, as the duo unleashed an assault on his father, pushing him to his limits. Given the same semblances, John knew that he had to make his father's aura break. He did so using a new move, bringing him to his knees. He then stabbed his legs to prevent him from moving. He wanted him to be awake as he wanted her to see what is gonna happen next. He then finally took down Jean by brutally slashing her arm off her body, after which he exposed her, and finally took her down in front of her father with a barrage of slashes. He then approached his father, who accepted his surrender. In the aftermath, many students viewed the team with respect and fear, most of whom viewed the team with admiration. Some even wanted to be like them. John then heard a voice he had not in a while. It belonged to his oldest sister Saffron Kata Ark. Saffron had tears in her eyes. Ever since John was disowned by her father, she and her wife had cut all ties with her family. She hated them and refused to talk to most of her family members. She then charged at her brother and embraced him. John also embraced her sister after meeting for so long. Saffron: "I missed you, brother, where were you?" John: "Can't breathe." Saffron lets go of her brother. She keeps her hand on her little brother's face. Out of all the sisters, Saffron was the only one that truly cared for him, not considering Lucy, given that she was truly young at the time of him leaving his house. Erica, on the other hand, back then blindly supported her father's decision to not train John. Saffron then spoke. "Saffron, where were you?" Saffron spoke softly. She was calming herself little by little. She only got to know of her brother's survival just recently, when she heard the Ark family trying to get their weapon back from the boy. She still had tears in her eyes, and John could see them clearly. That was when he heard a voice. "Issei." "Yo, John." It was Issei. He was joined by the rest of John's team. Saffron wondered who were they, and she asked. Saffron: "John, who are they?" John: "Oh, them, they are my teammates of my new team." Saffron: "New team?" John: "Right, introduce yourselves, guys." Saffron: "I am Saffron Kata Ark. It is nice to meet you, guys." Issei: "Oh, the good sister, the name is Issei Haidu." Ruby: "My name is Ruby Rose. I am your brother's partner." Ingvild: "And I am Ingvild Leviathan." Saffron: "It is a pleasure to meet all of you. Thank you for taking care of my brother, especially you, Ruby Rose." Ruby blushed at this, while John then spoke. John: "Come, big sis, I will tell you more once we enter our dorms." Saffron smiled and responded. Saffron: "Alright, lil bro." Saffron then joined the rest of the team to his dorm room. There John explained everything from what had happened from his partner betraying him to his bully making his life a living nightmare by putting his transcripts on the line when he beat the Ursa Major and saved his life, and that was his biggest mistake. After which his life was a living nightmare with everyone either tormenting, bullying or harassing him. Even his own team did not make things better. After which he ran away when his former father tried to seal his aura and semblance. He was joined by Ruby and they both ran away. He then ended up in the Backrooms. Saffron: "Backrooms. Issei. It is an extra dimension between realities. Once you get there it is extremely hard to escape. We made it out alive." Saffron: "I see, so how did you get out?" John: "Oh boy, that's another story." One story later. Saffron: So you are telling me, you met Issei at level 2, nearly became a freak, met the shield hero, faced a lot of enemies, trained with major exploration group, met with the legendary Summer Rose, had your date in level 6.1, after which you did your quests, fought against a godlike being and survived, and then you entered a dimension called Draconic Deus, which is Issei's and Ingvild's world after bidding farewell to everyone. Fought against a hero faction, received a new weapon after defeating the former wielder, and finally came here once your vacations began. Ingvild. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Saffron. That is a lot to analyze and take in. John. Take your time big sis, speaking of which how are Tara and Adrian doing back home? Saffron. Oh they are fine, Tara's taking care of Adrian right now. John. So how long will you be staying her big sis? Saffron. Till they are here, anyways there is something I need to tell you about someone, promise you won't be mad. John looked at her, he knew that it was not of his former family, given that she hates them equally, he then asked. John. What happened big sis? Saffron. It's about mother and your little sister Lucy. John at first narrowed his eyes, no way is he gonna forgive her, Saffron then continued. Saffron. I know you hate your former family, but please just hear me out. Saffron pleaded with John. John could not help but wonder why would she ask about her mother of all people, he could understand Lucy, but why her mother? John narrowed his eyes and spoke. John. Go ahead. Saffron. Out of all the people that were against your disownment, I was not the only one, your mother Juniper Arc was one of them. Well she was initially convinced that your father never let you train because of you needing to be protected, she knew something was off after a while, when you ran away to Beacon, she was extremely disheartened and saddened, and after your disownment, she was completely against it, she even fought against Nicholas during your disownment, however he threatened her that he and his sisters may attack Lucy, if she went and helped you, well I could defend myself easily, Lucy cannot and mother is not as strong as I am, so she accepted this, that is why she was not there to protect or help you. She let Nicholas do whatever he wanted, even going as far as sealing your semblance and aura, but the worst was what happened after your disappearance. John was now really worried, he never thought his mother still cared for him, not to mention Lucy was with that bastard of a father he had, he was worried that she might become like the rest of his sisters, even the others were worried about what might have happened, even Rex was worried about what happened, Jerry also wanted to know what happened. John. Is mother and Lucy alright? Saffron. Had I not come at the right time, then that is what happened after that. Scene change. Flashback. Saffron was cooking some dishes given that Tara was out for work, she then received a call on her scroll, it was her mother, as much as she did not want to, she had this gut feeling that something was wrong, she picked up the call. Although she had to control herself. Saffron. What's wrong mother? Juniper Arc spoke then. Juniper. Saffron please help me, they are coming after me and Lucy. Juniper's voice was filled with dread and fear, Saffron now started to get panicking, as much as she hated her former mother, she was worried for Lucy, given that she was very small and defenseless, Saffron then spoke. Saffron. Who are coming after you? Juniper. And Nicholas is I never wanted to abandon John, I was threatened by Nicholas that he would hurt Lucy, if I help John, where is he all alright? Saffron did not want to answer, she knew that things would get from bad to worse, if she came to know that John was no longer here, he was presumed dead, that is when she heard Juniper shriek. Juniper. Saffron, help me please, The line was then disconnected, her father had lost his mind, Saffron had to go and rescue her mother and Lucy from that monster. Flashback end. Scene change. Saffron told everyone about this, after which she continued. Saffron. I managed to get there right on time, I saved Mom and Lucy from him and knocked him out with a metal rod, using my semblance it knocked him out for a while, after that they have been living with me ever since, mother told me the full story after that. John, Mom always loved you, she wanted to make sure you are alright, safe, that is why she listened to him, that man. No monster only saw you as a weakling, John, I don't know if you will forgive her, and I understand if you don't but know this she was completely against your disownment and only listened when your father threatened to hurt Lucy, honestly it is a shame that the others accept to do that to their own flesh and blood without any shame. After Saffron was done, she sensed bloodlust, and it was not only John, but the rest of his team was radiating bloodlust as well, she knew that this would get ugly. John then spoke. John. I will gut him alive. Saffron sensed the rage in his voice, Saffron then spoke. Saffron. Brother. John and the others calmed down, John then spoke. John. Worry not Saffron, I do not hate mother, at least not anymore, especially after knowing that she was blackmailed into doing this, I am glad that you are taking care of them. Saffron nodded, Issei then spoke. Issei. Ms. Kata Arc, if you ever need our help, just give John a call, and we all will be there to help you. Ingvild. Yes, indeed, that man, he just gets on my nerves even more. Ruby. I am glad that he is not related anymore to any of you, at least not by bond. Rex nodded, that is when Saffron asked. Saffron. Issei, is that what you call a dollface? Issei, yes Ms. Kata Arc. Saffron. And just call me Big Sister Saffron Issei, same goes to the rest of you guys as well. Issei. Very well, Rex, Jerry, come on, introduce yourselves. Rex. Hi, I'm Rex, it is nice to meet you, Jerry. And I am Jerry, it is a pleasure to meet you, Saffron. Saffron then ruffled the dollface's hair, after which she then spoke. Saffron. It is great to have such good and loyal friends, please look after my brother. Issei. We will, Saffron, we will. Saffron. Thank you, and one more thing, let me know when you two are getting married, John and Ruby. Saffron then left the blushing couple alone, after which she headed to a bullhead which would take her back to Argus, which was her home. Scene change, but the Arc family, 2 hours ago. The Arc family was being rushed to the medical bay, with teams WBY and JNPR next to them. Many were severely injured because of the fighting against Team JIRI. Several were rushed to the hospital, with Nicholas and Jean getting the priority. First, they had severe wounds and required amputations in order for their wounds to be stabilized. Ozpin oversaw the procedure. He was immensely disappointed in Jean's actions, but nevertheless she needed treatment. Ozpin had some phoenix tears in an event such as these. He was reluctant on using it, wanting them to suffer for their actions. He decided to keep them in secret, since he did not want others getting their hands on them, especially Salem. Ozpin had requested people with healing semblances to heal the Arc family up. Now the whole beacon knows what Jean did and have started to be disgusted by her actions. Ozpin made sure that they take their time to heal up. Ozpin had the doctors administered anesthesia so that the wounds that were severe were amputated and removed. Thankfully, with the anesthesia they would not experience the pain of the surgery. Team JNPR and Team WBY were worried about Jean the most. Well, she still deserved an explanation for what she did. Right now she had to be treated. Weiss and Purr's hatred for John increased even more. Well, they did hated John. Now their hatred increased even more. But aside from hate, there was another emotion growing in them. Fear is the essence that compels men and women to do things they do not want to. An alternate source for motivation. It forces people to do things they despise. Fear is the reason some leaders thrive despite the people being against them. As much as they wanted vengeance against John and his team, they knew that if they messed with him, they would meet the same fate as the Arc family, or worse, Cardin Winchester. However, there were some that no longer wanted to fight or hate the team. They were Nora, Ren and Blake. Yang was starting to realize her error little by little. But she knows that a relationship like this is broken. It may be too late to make amends. Yang knew that she would need to fix her relationship with Ruby, and if possible John, before it is too late, or everything will be lost to her. Just like her mother left her, Ruby will do as well, and that is something she wanted to avoid. Blake, on the other hand, wanted to mend her relationship with John, but her actions at the docks meant that she would never get the chance, as it has become from bad to worse. Nora and Ren might have a slightly better chance, but they need to do it fast, else they might lose any chance of a possible mending of a relationship in their near future. Ren and Nora had a disappointed look towards Jean. They knew that she hated John, but never thought that she would go this far to hurt him, but they were stuck with her. They made their choice a long time ago when they agreed on tormenting John, and they accepted the fact. As for the Arc family, Erica was the only one that did accept what the Arcs were doing is not right now, but followed her father nevertheless. She wanted to support her mother when she was attacked. She saw Saffron escaping with Lucy and her mother, and she did not stop them, since she knew what they did was the right thing. As for the other Arcs, the twins were ashamed at how they were easily beaten by Issei and wanted vengeance against him. Same went for Miranda, she wanted vengeance against Ingvild Leviathan, and finally Jean, who was still in an anesthetic state since she had received an arm amputation and had her arm healed by healing semblances. Ozpin had a doctor that specialized in mechanical arms to create a mechanical shoulder joint that was able to connect her severed arm back in its place. Nicholas, on the other hand, also had an anesthetic since his leg needed some operation in order to remove the sword shards inside his leg, as well as his wounds. Although he did not need amputation, the process was nevertheless painful, and the doctors had to be careful that they should not make a mistake, else it might lead to complications that might make things worse for him. Nicholas was the first to wake up. He looked at Jean still being operated for her wounds. He then asked, "Nicholas, how long has she been like this?" Alexa, one of the twins, responded. "Alexa, 2 hours, ever since that disgrace beat her, she has not woken up." Headmaster Ozpin administered anesthetics to her so that she would not experience the pain of the amputation procedure. Even a doctor who specialized in mechanical joints is here to get a joint for allowing your daughter to move her arm. Nicholas. I see. Nicholas clenched his fists. He now hated John even more. He wanted to torment him, but was unable to do so, given his wounds. He then angrily though. "Nicholas. Mark my words, boy, I will make sure you suffer 10 times the hell you put your sister and me through." Seeing his father angry, Erica narrowed her eyes. She knew that he is not going to change. As for the others, they started to fear her father's wrath. They made sure to get back as soon as their wounds get done. Nicholas then spoke. "Nicholas. I will be leaving for now. Jean, take care of yourself." Nicholas and the other ARC sisters left when they were done, that is when Team WBY and Team JNPR were the next to meet the ARC sister. Ren. How are you feeling, Jean? Jean. Terrible, that disgrace kicked my ass so easily. Yang. I doubt you could even say that anymore, last time everyone saw you begging for mercy in front of everyone, the whole school saw this, and knows how many people from the whole remnant saw the fight. Nora. Yeah, I could not agree anymore, you guys got beat badly. Jean. How dare you, Nora. Before Jean could continue, Ren spoke. Ren. Jean, stop, just look at your condition, look at your father's condition, this is what happened to them, just because they hurt John's friends, for once think rationally, you have already pissed him off enough anymore, and you might just end up like Card in Winchester. Lake. Ren is right, the damage is done, don't make it worse. Jean stayed quiet for a while and then thought in anger. Jean. I will get my revenge from you, John, and when I do, I will enjoy seeing you suffer. Ren, Nora and Blake understood that Jean still wants revenge, judging by her clenched fist and angered expression. As for Yang, she understood something was wrong with Jean, while Per and Weiss knew that if they worked together, they would get a chance for revenge. The four went outside, leaving the three scheming their next revenge. Yang then spoke. Yang. You saw her face, right? Ren. Yeah, I am not supporting her and the others anymore, I am done, and I don't care if you guys are with me. Nora. Me as well, I know when to stop, and I am done, she was never my fearless leader, and never will be. Blake. I agree, I don't understand why Purrit and Weiss are still hellbent on doing revenge against him, it is time to stop, even some people I knew wouldn't be like that. Yang. I know Kitty Cat, and even I am done supporting her. Blake. I am surprised you would say that, Yang. Yang. I am, ever since my talk with Summer, she informed me that I would lose Ruby if I continued this path, and that is something I cannot even fathom. Despite my past actions, I still saw the care in Ruby's eyes, even if the amount is little, she still has a little care for me, she still believes I can change, and change I will. I don't care if John forgives me or not, but I am done going after him, if my sister is happy being with him, then I am as well. By hurting him, I am hurting Ruby and turning her against me, and I am done hurting them. The trio were surprised that Yang was becoming better, but wondered whether she will be the same or will she be different, only time will tell. Ren. Let's just hope that John is at least willing to hear us out. The others nodded. They decided to at least bring John to talking terms, until then, they will wait till they get their chance. Scene change with Jean. After the four had left the medical bay, Jean was left alone with Purrit and Weiss. The trio of girls now feared and hated John for what he has become. He was way stronger than any of them and would not hesitate to kill them if they ever stepped out of the line. Jean. Ooh, I want to take revenge from him. He humiliated me not only in front of the entire school, I want to get back at him. Weiss. So you want to get back at him, right? Jean. Yes, Weiss. And you will do anything, right? Jean. Yesss. Purrit. In that case, the Vital Festival is coming up, John has made a lot of enemies, the council and your parents, we can ask them to help, and they will help by making his life harder, then we can watch as he suffers. Jean. Oh yes, then we will humiliate him, just like he humiliated us. I can't watch to see his face when he loses in the tournament. Jean and the other two girls laughed in secret, they would enjoy making John's life a living hell, they will make sure to crush his dreams no matter what happens, no matter the cost of what it takes, they will do it. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. John asking Chibi Issei to use dress break on Chibi Purrit, much to her horror. Vale Underground, 8:30 p.m. Issei, Rias and their team along with Dr. Oobleck were rushing to the underground in order to stop the train. They had gotten the information from Azazel that they were going to several Atlasian Paladin 290 prototypes and bombs to crash Vale, allowing it to be attacked by Grim. The White Fang were supporting them. They saw as the White Fang had already carried out the plan and they were led by the masked man. Oobleck were rushing to the underground in order to stop the train. They had gotten the information from Azazel that they were going to several Atlasian Paladin 290 prototypes and bombs to crash Vale, allowing it to be attacked by Grim, the White. When they saw the train, it was dark gray, with black in some areas. The locomotive of the train has a light and collision buffer, and Ingvild noted that it resembles early diesel locomotives of the 1940s and 50s, such as the Alco RS-3. The train was unusually wide, crossing a double set of 2 tracks. This was backed up in interior sets of the boxcars, which are clearly far wider than conventional rail cars. The train featured both boxcars and flatbed cars. Issei. Okay, so we need to stop the White Fang. Any ideas? Oobleck. First we need to stop the train's momentum. If the train does reach the Vale, it would be overrun with Grim. Issei. I got this, illegal move Triana. John and Rias understood that Issei was going to stop the train. Ingvild then spoke. Ingvild. Let me also help. Issei nodded, he then entered into his rook form and screamed. Armor release. Change Star Sonic. Issei boosted several times and approached in front of the train, he then rushed in front of the train and yelled. Welsh draconic rook. Change solid impact. Issei appeared in front of the train and stopped the train with his brute strength of the dragon. He stopped the train, much to the wielder's shock. He destroyed the train engine by removing the train cover and destroyed the train. Ingvild used her water abilities to cool down the engine, preventing the engine from exploding by the sudden stop of the train, as well as when Issei smashed the train. Scene break. But John, Rias and the others. John and Rias along with the others were inside the train. They were easily dispatching the White Fang grunts. However, the lieutenants were a bit of a problem. But with John using his blade blacksmith and Rias using her power of destruction, they were only a minor menace. Seeing the plan failed once again. The masked man teleports out of there using Emerald Semblance, who was also disguised to prevent any of them from recognizing him. Oobleck. Damn it, he escaped. Ruby. So what now, Doctor? Oobleck. Since the train is stopped, we need to only disarm the explosives and deal with the Grim. Rias. That's easy, leave that to us, Doctor. Oobleck nodded and Rias and her team went outside to deal with the Grim. They were Beolds, King Tagetus and Deathstalkers present. Issei and the others took charge, while John and Ruby along with Oobleck were handling the bombs. Issei destroyed many of them with ease, along with Rias and Akeno, who had the aerial advantage of destroying several of them in the air with their abilities. Kiba used his glory drag trooper, and they all took down a Death Stalker in seconds. Asia healed anyone that was injured. Ingvild used her water dragons to take down anyone that came close to Asia. Asia. Thanks, Ingvild. Ingvild smiled in response, while Issei entered into his bishop form and used Dragon Blaster to destroy a lot of Grim with ease. Eventually all the Grim dissipated into nothingness. Oobleck then came and spoke. Oobleck. Bomb has been disarmed, now no Grim can come here. John. Good job, guys, now we can go home. Ruby. Yeah. The others agreed and all of them went home, after which they slept for the day. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Ruby trying to make pancakes, while Chibi Rias tries to sabotage them. The next day, 9:30 am. The teams were then called to Ozpin, Azazel and Seraphol. Ozpin then spoke. Ozpin. So you guys have figured out the reason for your calling. Issei. I am confused. Azazel. You guys need to train, there is a festival which only takes place once in 2 years. John. You mean the Vital Festival. Seraphol. Bingo, Johnny-chan, you have got it, now I want you all to train for the Vital Festival, and I need you to win. John. As you wish, Sarah-chan. Rias. Don't get cocky, John, we will not let you win. John. Neither will we, so give me your best shot. Rias nodded, while the two teams looked towards each other. Issei was not gonna go easy on Team Raka, while the others from Team Raka are not going to go easy on Issei. That is when Azazel spoke. Azazel. Your families will be visiting the Vital Festival along with several of your friends. I want you to be at your strongest. You will be facing against many enemies from all different kingdoms. Show the what you got. John. We will, teach, we will. Azazel smiled as the 8 then left the room. After that Azazel discussed. Azazel. So they will be using the communication to spread panic and cause the Grim to appear. Ozpin. Yes, not to mention the White Fang led by Adam Taurus will be attacking as well. The festival will be a full-scale war. Seraphol. Well, it's time for us adults to step in and stop them. Speaking of which, what about Ironwood? Ozpin. James wanted to bring in an army, but I convinced him to only bring Winter Schnee and a few of the ace operatives to Vital Festival. He understood that given the fact that you two could easily take on an entire army. Azazel. That's good. Seraphol. I wanted to bring Sotan here, but she said and I quote, with you and Rias leaving, my paperwork has doubled, and someone needs to look after the student council. I cannot abandon my duties, and for that I apologize. And she stayed back in Kuo. Ozpin. I see. Azazel. Anyways, let's wrap up, although I am worried given that the Cows Brigade is not being doing anything, they have been awfully quiet, and this is what I am afraid about. Ozpin. You mean the terrorist group back at home? Azazel. Yep. Seraphol. I know, they have been silent, which makes me worry even more. They have recently increased their activity around Romania, but there is nothing going on there aside from some members going in and out. I have asked Surziches to send some spies there. I hope that things will be alright. Azazel. I hope, since I don't want things to get involved, I might ask Vali and his team to head there if things are bad. Seraphol and Ozpin nodded, after which they continued to observe Cinder and her team and try to find out what is happening. Chapter 8. The Annoying Veil Council. John was facing off against Team RDL. The trio wanted to take vengeance. Ever since their leader's death at the hands of their opponent, John only had a smirk on his face, as he was easily able to push them back, and he had not even entered into his mechanical suit, and he was pushing them back. Russell. You murderer. John. What is that, all you can insult me? Russell, I am disappointed. Sky. You killed our leader. Dove. You should have been the one to die. John. He alright then, show me a good time, Team RDL. But that John commanded Team RDL as the trio rushed towards John in an attempt to strike him down. John gripped his sword, ready to take them on. John activated his blade, easily parrying his strikes with that of Team RDL. He had a bored expression on his face. Unlike Purr Schnee, they were not even worth his time. It is no wonder that Purr was able to defeat them, all of them together, even with Carden leading them. Ingvild was right about one thing: they are nothing but pathetic cowards. However, the students and the professors of Beacon, Azazel and Seraphel, were not the only ones watching. The council was also watching him, as they were responsible for him fighting against the Veil Council. 4 months ago, after Ozpin had returned, he had informed them about their son's death. When this happened, although Ozpin refused to tell how he died, a certain Spartan did the honors and informed them that John killed him. The Winchesters were furious at this and demanded John be sent to them for his punishment. Despite Ozpin telling them the reason as to why he killed him, they still refused. Given that the whole family hated and looked down upon Franus, they believed that their son did not deserve to die for what he did. They watched as to how John in a matter of minutes dismantled and took down the entire remnants of Team RDL with ease. Some quick slashes and they were all in the ground. To add insult to injury, he was not even trying. He then looked up to see many students cheering and his friends smiling at him. He ignored the ones glaring at them. He then saw the council, including the Winchesters. He then looked at them and responded with a smile of his own, making them even more angrier. He then looked at them and responded with a smile of his own, making them even more angrier. John then looked away as he headed back to the locker room to get changed. As for Team RDL, they were escorted to the medical bay for their injuries, while the council looked in pure anger and hatred. Mr. Winchester, also named Calvin Winchester, was a man with brown hair. He was in formal suit and pants which were black in color, and he also had a white shirt, wore a tie and had a similar haircut to his deceased son, while Mrs. Winchester, also named Harris Winchester, wore red formal clothing with a red shirt, a white undershirt and a red medium-length pant. She wore red heels and was a black-haired woman. She also had her hair tied in a bun. Calvin then spoke. Calvin. Headmaster, why is this murderer still in my school? Ozpin. He has earned his place, just like the others in Beacon. I will not remove it, no matter how much you try. Harris. But he murdered my boy. He killed him in cold blood, not to mention he faked his way into Beacon. If you won't get rid of him, the council will. Ozpin. Mrs. Winchester, I will have you know that I decide who gets to stay and who does not. You have no right to threaten me. Calvin. We will then remove you from the post. We will get that boy no matter what happens. Ozpin looked at him as if he was stupid. He then laughed like never before, much to the anger of the council. Councilman number 1. Headmaster, why are you laughing? Councilwoman number 1. You will respect Mr. and Mrs. Winchester. Right now, he can remove you from the council and. However, she was cut off by Ozpin, who had now changed into a much serious and furious expression. He then spoke. Ozpin. Try it, Calvin, I dare you. Just keep this in mind that I can not only take the council head on, but also I have connections all over Remnant. Every headmaster is with me, and once they come to know what you did, they will cut off all connections to Veil. Not to mention, they will strip you of your post in the council and make you into nobodies. Even I can do the same. Be grateful I am not doing it right now. Calvin. You. Ozpin. I am not done yet. Well, you guys were suckling on your mother's wombs. I have been protecting this kingdom since the day I was born. I have raised and trained several huntsmen and huntresses that protect the kingdom and take down threats as warriors, some of which you have never imagined before. That's not all. You guys have only been sitting there in front of a screen giving orders, while I am the one that truly cared about Remnant and protected it with all my strength. You may have been elected by the people, but I can turn those same people against you in just a matter of hours, and they will strip you of your position. And if you think I am done, then you have not seen anything. If you even think about threatening Mr. Ark and his friends, you will meet the same fate as your son, as he will not show you any mercy or compassion. He will kill you in the worst way possible, and not even I can save you from them. The council was furious, no livid at what Ozpin said. They wanted to take him out right now, but Ozpin had already readied his cane. They knew that he can take them out without even trying. Calvin then spoke. Calvin. This is not over, Ozpin. Paris. I will avenge my boy and ruin his life. Ozpin only scoffed as the council left the room. Ozpin then thought. Ozpin. You really are fools if you face against him. Mr. Ark is not someone you want to mess with. I hope he beats some sense into you idiots. Ozpin sighed as he returned back to his office where he met Azazel and Seraphel. Seeing his annoyed expression, they knew that he had a run-in with the council, and it was not pretty. Azazel. Council again? Ozpin nods and Azazel sighs. They have been really annoying ever since John has come back here, and there is no telling that when they will strike, but they will sow it soon. Seraphel then spoke. Seraphel. They will now better than to attack us. The council back home learned it the hard way. They will learn it as well. Anyways, I need to go back. I need to take care of the kid. Azazel. You seem to warm up to him. Seraphel. He is a good kid. I just so Tan will be happy to meet him. Azazel. I think she would. If you gets along with him, then she will as well. Considering the fact that she has to deal with an entire school of perverts, weirdos and aggressive girls who think they own the school, I think she will take it much better. Seraphel. Huh, alright. Seraphil smiled, after which she left to take care of the kid. She never had gotten the name of the kid, since he was still traumatized after losing his mother, but she was slowly getting to the child. Azazel and Ozpin decided to continue the work for the Vital Festival that was coming in a week's time. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Weiss learning about Genshin Impact. Beacon Halls, 1 p.m. John and his friends were having their food, they were joined by Team CFVY. Velvet then greeted them. Velvet. Hey guys. Issei. Ah, the bunny girl senpai. Velvet. What? Issei. No, nothing anyways, what brings you here? Velvet. We wanted to hang out with you guys and Coco. Bun Bun was really desperate to hang out with you guys and she wanted to be with you guys. Velvet. Coco. Velvet blushed when she heard what Coco said to the teams. John was kind of oblivious as he did not want to believe that Coco liked him. Ruby on the other hand internally sighed. As much as she did not want a harem, she knew that John might get one in the near future. Ruby always had a dirty mind, even more than her older sister, although much less than Issei's dirty mind, the difference is that she never showed it. Yatsuhashi. Besides, we already enjoyed your company, so we would love to hang out. Hawks. I hope you guys don't mind. Rias. No, the more the merrier. Bakeno. Me too, I would love to have a chat. But the others agreeing Team CFVY also joined them. There they met Rex and Jerry, both of which they have never seen before. Rex enjoyed Velvet's company as Velvet rubbed the dollface's hair, that is when they heard. John Ark, you are under arrest on the orders of the council. The 12 turned their attention to the guards that had shown up. They were accompanied by Harris and Calvin Winchester, who both had a smug smile on their face. They understood that they are abusing their power in order for them to get back at John for killing Cardin Winchester. They were 50 in number and wore a traditional soldier outfit equipped with semblance disabling tasers, meant to arrest their foes. They wore metal armor, with complete inner protection, and wore a metal helmet. The chest plate had the veil symbol on it. Calvin. Take him with us boys, arrest anyone that resists us. This got the 12 to ready their weapons. John then spoke. John. Fox, Yatsuhashi, evacuate the students, this might get ugly. The duo nodded and they evacuated the students. The remaining 10 got their weapons ready and decided to take down the Veil Council and deal with their stupid arrests. John then spoke. John. I will deal with the Winchesters and some of the guards, can you take care of the remaining? Issei. Sure. Rias. Consider it done. Velvet. I will also join, I want to get back at the Winchesters for nearly raping me. Coco. Let me join Bun Bun, nobody hurts my teammate and gets away with it, they will pay. Asia. I will handle the healing, come back to me in case any of you guys get hurt. The 9 nodded, while both Calvin and Harris along with the rest of the council were furious at this sheer defiance, and they yelled. Calvin. You dare defy the council. Harris. You bastards will not get away with murdering my son. John. I will have you know that your son raped Velvet Scarlatina, he would have done the deed if not for his timely intervention of his team. Velvet looked down when she remembered the event, some scars will never go, no matter what happens. Coco consoled her friend, while the others glared at them. Kiba had his blade ready to go full Jack the Ripper on the soldiers right here and right now. John. Your son is the reason why my life was ruined, he bullied Phronis's day and night and constantly attacked Velvet, calling her an animal. When I saved his sorry ass in front of an Ursa Major, he cowardly looked around as a way to escape, after which his pride got hit and he ruined my life. I am glad that he is dead, for once I am happy that he is gone forever. He made Velvet's life a living hell, and I will not let anyone hurt her anymore. Velvet looked up in surprise when she heard that. John then continued. John. You are no better than the White Fang, Winchester, both of you discriminate against the opposing race, to an extent. Phronis are also human, Velvet is also a person, she also has the same emotions as us humans. It is a shame that people like you exist, people that harm Phronis just because they are different, just because they have animal traits. You are nothing but people that have no honor, no truth and definitely have no hope. The council I see in front of me is nothing but a bunch of misguided, treacherous, corrupt and racist bastards who only are here to maintain their image, try to ruin anyone that they don't like, and have the power to silence anyone that dared oppose them. The Veil Council was set up to be the voice of the people, their protector, not their oppressor. You guys are nothing but trouble, and only here to do whatever you want, but I will not let you hurt my friends, I will not let you trouble or torment Velvet anymore, I will protect her from anyone that hurts her. Velvet blushed on hearing this, Coco smirked in response, she silently spoke. Coco? Not bad kid. Issei also looked in admiration, he thought. Issei. That is our leader for you. Greg. I could not agree anymore. L. Yup. While the rest were happy about this, the Veil Council and the Veil Guards were furious at this. Harris screamed. Harris. Get that murderer alive, I will make sure to torment you, John. John. It's arc to you, Winchester, and since you want to come and get me, let's dance. John removed his blade and rushed past the guards to take down the Winchester couple, along with a few guards. The others were focused on dealing with the rogue councilmen and guards. Several guards attacked the group. Issei easily handled their base attacks with their draconic strength. He then took 5 of them in air and fired a dragon shot, easily disabling all of them. Rias handled the next 5 and a few councilmen. She immediately used power of destruction, although she made sure to reduce the power so as to not kill them. However, she made sure to make the attack as painful as possible. The pod ripped their armor and skin apart like paper, making them scream in pain as much as possible. Rias then saw as they all fell to the ground with their armor completely destroyed and some of their skin was destroyed as well. The Kendo was the next. She constantly used holy lightning to torture them. The guards felt as their bodies were constantly being zapped. The duo easily destroyed their aura like it was nothing, and they made sure to make it as painful as possible. Kendo being the sadist she has enjoyed tormenting them. She licked her lips as they screamed in pain while being electrocuted constantly. Their armor was already destroyed and they were all twitching in pain as their bodies were being electrocuted and lightning was flowing through their bodies. She had a small blush as well. The Kendo. ARAFUFUFUFU. Thibaut also joined in, slashing the Veil Councilman and destroying their armor like it was nothing. He did not need his balance breaker in order to kill them, simple swords were enough. He dodged their attacks like it was nothing, and he used his swords to stab their legs, disarming them and destroying their armor. They screamed as they were unable to move their body because of the pain. Coco also joined him and spoke. Coco? Mind if I join you, knight? Thibaut. Gladly, the more the merrier, Miss Adele. Coco. Call me Coco, we are friends. Coco then removed her handbag which turned into her weapon Jinduja. It was a minigun, which was meant for only those with extremely high strength to use them. She then used the gun to mow down all the council members and soldiers that rushed blindly towards her. They were all gunned down with absolute prejudice, showing them no mercy. Coco made sure to aim the most bullets at the councilmen as they were the reason that Velvet never got justice because of what Carton did to her. She made it as painful as possible. Ruby was next. She used her crescent rose in her scythe mode, twirling it like a staff. She easily ripped their armor and severely damaged their aura. She made sure to make the assault as painful as possible. Like Coco, even she was furious when Velvet never got justice for what Carton did, and she will make them pay. The council men were screaming in pain. It did not make it any better that Ruby switched her weapon to sniper rifle mode to burn them alive by shooting fire dust rounds at them. Some were foolish enough to approach Issei. However, if there is something that the factions have learned, it is to not piss off a dragon who has a heavenly dragon sealed inside of him. He looked around scanning the area and just blitzed out of nothingness. He then appeared behind the guard and kicked him so hard that his aura broke and his jaw was dangling. He approached the next one and gave him a series of consecutive punches to the other 2 and sent them flying on a ceiling, after which 2 of them foolishly charged at them. He grabbed both of their weapons, much to their shock, and kicked them on the chin, sending them flying. After which he grabbed 2 council people and pummeled them over and over again until their aura broke and they fell unconscious. Ingvild was the same. Fools that approached her were met with a torrent of water that drowned most of them with ease. She then used water dragons that went straight to them and ripped and crunched their armor like it was nothing. Blood was spewing out from the wounds. Ingvild then rushed at them with superhuman strength and dragged them across the ground. Their skin was being ripped across like butter, making them scream in pain. She then threw the guards towards a wall and they were knocked unconscious. Some guards flanked them from another side. However, Velvet punched them several times, broke through their aura, sending them flying. Ingvild then spoke. Ingvild. Thanks. Velvet. Worry not, sister, I got your back. Ingvild. Yeah. Now only John was left. Asia healed any injuries that her team had sustained, although they were way less than a normal circumstance. John easily dispatched the guards like it was nothing, leaving only Calvin and Harris the ones standing. They watched in horror and fear as they saw that everyone they knew was defeated like it was nothing. They yelled. Calvin. How dare you, boy. Harris. You will regret defying the justice of the Veil Council. John. I don't give a damn about you or your so-called justice. John then charged into Calvin and gave him a gut punch, sending him flying across the ceiling. He then removed a fire salt and threw at Harris. It exploded on contact, making her scream. Thankfully her aura prevented permanent disfigurement. She felt the pain, however. He then constantly slashed with his blue Lux Moors, reducing her aura into nothingness. He then constantly punched her stomach, sending her flying into the wall, knocking her unconscious. John then approached Calvin, who had woken up. He saw everything had been destroyed. The council was on the ground, severely bleeding and damaged. He saw his wife on the wall, with multiple signs of severe body damage, blood coming out from her mouth. He then looked at the boy as John spoke. John. Not so tough are you, now. Calvin. You will not get away with this arc, we will make sure that you suffer. John did not respond. He approached Calvin and stabbed his stomach, making him scream in pain. He then approached him with intent to kill. He then stabbed his first leg, once again making him scream. He then stabbed his other leg, making him scream in pain. He then looked John, stopping after stabbing both of his legs. He walked away before saying, John. If I ever see you or your stupid council attacking me or my friends, the next time will be 10 times more worse. John then walked to his friends. Calvin on the other hand was furious at what the Ark had done to the council. He then yelled, "Calvin. Mark my words, Ark, once I find a way to kill you I will come after your friends, your families and everyone you care about. I will kill them. I will kill all of them." However, this made the group even more mad. Issei and John were radiating bloodlust. John charged at him and brought his blade next to Calvin's throat. He then spoke. "John. Repeat that again, you son of a bitch." John growled at Calvin, making him gulp. He then looked at John in horror as John's blade was ready to slice off his head from his body. He then spoke. "John. If you or your stupid council comes and tries to even hurt my friends and family, I will swear not even God will save you from what I will do to you. I will gut your bodies and dismember them and personally make sure to remove your heart and show it to your council and your whore of a wife. After that I will do the same to your wife and any of the family members you have for the whole veil to see, your body parts. I will keep you alive, but I will never let you rest, never let you stay in peace. I will make sure you have a fate worse than death. I will make you beg for death, and not even God will convince me to show you any mercy." John yelled at the last part, making Calvin pass out due to fear. He then walked away from his unconscious body, after which Ozpin and Glinda came here. They were in shock as to what happened here. Ozpin then asked, "Ozpin. What in Mounty Am's name happened here?" John and Velvet explained everything. Needless to say, Ozpin and Glinda have had enough of the council. Ozpin then yelled, "Ozpin. Glinda, get this trash off my property." Glinda. "With pleasure, headmaster." Glinda used her semblance to carry off the defeated guards and council members and escorted them off the Beacon Academy, after which Ozpin looked at the students. "Ozpin. You kids better go to class. I have no time for arguments. The council has been a pain in my life, so you better leave this place right now." The students nodded. From the tone of his voice, he was sick and tired of the council. The students then walked away and headed to their class, which was Anne Green's class based on stealth and security. Chapter 9. Preparations for the festival. After the fight, the council's attempt was somehow kept a secret, given that they did not want the people to know about what happened in Beacon Academy. Glinda had removed them from the Beacon grounds and had threatened them that it would be far worse the next time they get involved in anyone's personal life. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Ozpin trying to get people to get his stuff in the guise of relics. Beacon Academy, 2:30 p.m. Issei was in the training room. Drake was teaching him a new move, which he was unable to teach him before, which was called Penetrate. Given his low magic abilities, he spoke. "Drake. Think of the attack to be something you want to bypass, partner." Issei. "I am trying, but wait, this might work. Hey John, can you create multiple shield training droids?" John. "Huh, what for?" Issei. "You will see." John. "Alright." John then sets the machine, and a few shield droids are getting ready. This was a training room that Azazel had created in order to train the Beacon students. Currently Issei and John were using them. The shield droids were starting to be formed. They were droids that were red in color and looked like an insectoid. These things rolled in their ball form, and once they were in front of Issei, they were shelled in a bronze-colored metal armor, which was now on its 3 legs. It had glowing red eyes on what seemed to be its face, and had twin repeating blaster cannons meant for mowing down their enemies down with ease. They had a skeletal and a skeleton that supported and handled their entire body. These things were designed to teach students patience on when is the right time to strike an enemy while dodging fire from this thing, and this was at its strongest. The droid activated its shield to prevent any oncoming attacks. This shield was. These things were designed to teach students patience on when is the right time to strike an enemy while dodging fire from this thing, and this was at its strongest. The droid activated its shield to prevent any oncoming attacks. This shield was strong enough to take on Ria's power of destruction with ease. Issei had to imagine a scenario similar to how he learned the dress break ability. He needed to imagine bypassing the shields in order for him to use the penetrate ability. He closed his eyes and imagined the shield droid having no shield. Once that was done, he saw the shield droid's weakness, and with his boosted gear he had called Penetrate. Issei was able to damage the shield droid by bypassing the shield generator, much to its surprise. Drake then spoke. "Drake. You did it, partner. That was Penetrate. I managed to salvage the lost power from my gear in order for me to use that move. Now all you need is to practice that move in order for its perfection." Bell. "But we know you will master this move in no time, and your competitors in the festival would be in shock with your new move." Issei. "Gee, thanks guys. Did you see that, John?" John responded with a smile. He spoke. "John. I did. At first I was surprised, so that was the move Penetrate." Issei. "Yep, now I need to clear these droids." Issei then used Penetrate once again and damaged the twin blaster cannons of the shield droids, allowing them to be defenseless. He then kept damaging them and took down multiple max level shield droids with ease. However, John was not the only one watching. Azazel was watching as well. He then spoke. "Azazel. Did I do any error in those shield generators? Only a select few can destroy them." John. "It's a move called Penetrate. Azazel's eyes widened, after a while he smirked, he was proud of his student from learning one of Drake's strongest abilities, he then spoke. Azazel. This kid keeps surprising me, it is only a matter of time before he becomes extremely strong, Salem is in for a surprise. He told the last part so that no one could hear him, since the other students would come to know about the stories, the only ones that do know are Ozpin's inner circle, him, Seraphol and a few select students. He watched as Issei was able to bypass the shields and attack the shield droids, destroying them with ease. Issei then saw Azazel watching him and spoke. Issei. Did you see that, sensei? Azazel. Yes I did and I am proud of you, Issei, speaking of which I wanted to talk to you about something. Issei. Go ahead. Azazel. It's about the Cows Brigade. Issei and John grew serious, Issei then asked. Issei. What happened? Azazel. There has been nothing, no movement or anything on the other side, they seem to be awfully quiet, only a few days ago they have started to move to Romania, I have started to contact Volley to see if there is anything wrong. Issei. I see. John. Teach, I think this is the calm before the storm, Romania is vampire territory, right? Azazel nods. John. Since you told me about vampires, I think there might be a half-blood that might have a sacred gear awakened, just like Gasper, Volley or Ingvild, there is something that interests them there, so we need to be careful, they will make their move there, and we might have to stop them soon. Azazel. I see, I will relay this information to the others, for now continue training. The boys nodded as Azazel left the duo. John practiced his sword skills against several attack droids and stealth droids, since he needed to sense his enemy before attacking them. These droids were sort of humanoid, but had a complete robotic endoskeleton, which was yellow in color, it had an antenna at the head and held a blaster rifle on its hand. As for the stealth droid, they were much more intelligent compared to a regular attack droid, they were brown in color and had photoreceptors that were meant to sense the target's movement and aim at their weak points. Aside from that, their designs looked similar to that of a regular attack droid. John and Issei had their weapons ready, some of these stealth droids also had swords that were meant for close combat. As they attacked the duo, they were fighting against a duo, thanks to their successful coordination, John was able to deflect most of the bullets and destroy the attack droids before they could even react, using a downward slash. Issei did the same, going after the stealth droids and fire a dragon shot, killing several of them with ease. Some attacked him from the behind as John protected his back, the duo then destroyed each and every one of the droids with ease. John used his sword to chop off several droids' arms, rendering them defenseless, while Issei used fire breath to destroy the droids. John then put some ice dust and created an ice wall that destroyed any unlucky droids that were at the wall creation. Eventually all the droids were destroyed as the duo then high-fived each other, they were then joined by Ruby and Ingvild. Ruby. Hey guys. John. Hey Ruby. Ruby. How is the training going? John. Well, in fact Issei here learned a new move. Ingvild. Oh do tell. Issei. It is a move called Penetrate. Issei then went on to explain the move and its abilities, given that he has just learnt the move, it would still take time for him to master it. Ingvild. So when you are done, you will be able to pierce through any defensive ability. Issei. Indeed Haim, speaking of which, where are Rias and the others? Ingvild. Oh, they are roaming around the Vital Festival area. Ruby. They asked whether you guys could come. Issei. Alright then, we need to change after training, tell them we will join them in 30 minutes at most. Ingvild. Alright then. Ingvild pecked his cheek while Ruby pecked John's cheek, after that both of them left the boys as they entered their dorms to take a shower and go outside. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Issei deciding what he should wear for his date with his harem. John and his team walked towards the Vale streets, where Rias and her team were waiting for them, all of them were wearing casuals as Rias spoke. Rias. Took you guys long enough. Asia. Yeah, Rias was saying, when will you come, I hope they are not training. Rias. Asia. Rias was embarrassed at this, but kept it subtle, after which Kiba spoke. Kiba. So what were you guys doing? Issei. We were training for the upcoming Vital Festival, we were fighting against those droids, they were really hard to beat. Kiba. I see. Kiba wondered and thought, that is when Akeno spoke. Akeno. Let's roam around these streets, given that it is a holiday, we should also have some fun. They checked around to see a banner saying, welcome to Vale written in red ink. Issei. So this is the Vital Festival, looks amazing. John. It is not even completed yet, wait till you see the Vital Tournament, I always wanted to participate in one of these. Rias. Well now we can, it should be there in a week's time, right? John. Yep. Ruby. I want to participate here as well, speaking of which, where is Jerry? Issei. Oh, both he and Rex are resting back home, I left some almond water in case they feel hungry. Ruby nodded, after which they headed to a restaurant where an elderly, balding, grey-haired man with wrinkles under his eyes and over his brow. Typically, he wears a green shirt with a red apron and grey pants. He was the shopkeep, the man that ran several stores in Vale, he then spoke. Shopkeep. Ah, new customers, what can I get for you two today? John. Just some noodles will do, we have been starving. Shopkeep. Coming right up. 8 bowls were served, and Rias gave her debit card, which had a billion lien on it, which was thanks to the Gremory family being one of the richest in the underworld. They all were eating, which is when John noticed something. John? Is something wrong? Shopkeep. No, it is just a white-haired brat showed up here. She was not only rude to me, but also she seemed to be a snobby and arrogant person, especially after her credit card failed. John? I see. Issei. Looks like Weiss does not have a good reputation here as well. Ruby sighed. Weiss is only worsening, unlike Blake, who is improving day by day. As for Yang, she has been trying to improve her temper control, but has extremely little success to it. She is still partially worried for her. However, if she continued down the path, Ruby might have to cut all relationship with her. The very thought of her cutting all ties with someone who was sort of a mother to her was dreadful to say the least. Rias. Anyways, can you make this a little bit spicy? Shopkeep. Give me a minute, lady, I will get it done. Rias. Thank you. The shopkeep nodded and took the bowl inside as he spiced it up with spices. He then gave it to Rias and walked to tend to the other customers as well. Akeno then spoke. Akeno. This is good. Asia. I know, right? Hiba. Even I am liking this. For old man, he certainly knows how to make some amazing noodles. Ruby. I came here before with my Uncle Crow and Yang before, and it is amazing, back when Yang was nice and kind. Dawn kept his hand on Ruby, which made her smile. Issei then spoke. Issei. Anyways, so what are your progress in your training? Rias. I have also learned a new move, it's called Extinguished Star. Issei. Nice, can you tell us what it does? Rias. Sorry, Ice Trade secret. Rias winked at him, making the brunette make a sly smile. Issei. Anyways, what about you guys? Hiba. My training has made me much faster and more tuned with my sacred gear, none of us will hold back if we face against you guys in the vital festival. Akeno. Me too, my holy lightning can also affect a much larger area and is much more potent. Asia. Yep. Ingvild. I can use my water magic more effectively, enough to drown the whole arena without even trying. Ruby. My semblance is more endured and I can use it in a much faster manner. I was also told about Silver Eyes by Ozpin, although I am having difficulty activating it. John. Wow, that's amazing, keep it up and you will be on par with your mother in the future. Ruby nodded and smiled. Issei. That's amazing, I am proud of all of you. The girls who liked Issei all blushed, after which Issei spoke. Issei. Like Rias, I have learned a new move called Penetrate. Rias. I have heard of that ability although I do not know much about it. Issei. It allows me to bypass any defense and magical barriers, in other words I can attack anyone despite their usage of a defensive shield. You can thank those shield droids for helping me. Akeno. Oh, I remember how Rias struggled against one of them. Akeno chuckled, while Rias looked nervously at her. Rias. Please don't remind me. Rias then changed her mood to a smile, a genuine one. Rias. Good job, my cute pawn, I am proud of you. Issei blushed on this, which Ingvild noticed and she grabbed his hand, she spoke. Ingvild. You did an amazing job, Ice, my Ice. Rias. Hey, let go of him. Akeno. Ara. Someone is getting bold, fu. Asia could only moan as 3 beautiful girls are going after him. John then spoke. John. Guys, not here too. All 4 girls glared at John, making him shut up. Ruby calmed him down, as the duo could only pity. Issei was being pulled by Ingvild and Asia on one side, while Rias and Akeno were pulling him on the other side. They all wanted Issei to come to their side. Issei. Help me, anyone. After a while the girls stopped, after that they ate their food and they left for the dorms. After saying goodbye to members of Team Raka and they all headed to the bed for their next day. Issei. So are you guys excited for the festival? Ruby. Yep, mom and dad are coming to see my performance. Heard they settled relatively well in their apartment. Zwei is also staying with them. John. Even Mr. and Mrs. Haidu will be coming, right, Ice? Issei. Yeah, mom called me a few days ago and said that they along with Surzich's Lucifer, my parents, Ria's parents, Akeno's father, Archangel Michael and my friends will be coming. John. That's quite a lot of people. Ingvild. Still, I am happy that so many people are seeing our performance. I cannot let them down, especially when they are watching me. John. Heh, worry not, they already see you as their daughter. Ingvild blushed at this, after which Issei spoke. Issei. Lady Yasaka was supposed to come, but she could leave Kyoto for long, even Kunu was asked to stay back much to her sadness. John. You mean the 9-tailed fox Yakai and her daughter? Issei nodded, after which they entered their dorms and changed back into their night clothes. They all decided to sleep for the next day. Scene change. Ozpin's office, 10:30 p.m. Azazel had come in, he had informed the others back at Earth about John's theory, with Surzich's informing them to increase any spies that were present in the Cows Brigade. If they can have spies here, that so can the Alliance. He then called both Ozpin and Seraphil. Azazel. I have told them about the situation. Ozpin. Good Azazel, so according to Mr. Ark, there is someone that has a sacred gear and it must have manifested right. Azazel. Yep, and I have noted down the possible longinus that have not been found yet and there are only 2 of them that are not been found. Seraphil. What about the others? Azazel. The true longinus, Dimension Lost and Annihilation Maker are all with Indra, and Worry Naughty is not an enemy, Zenith Tempest is with Lord Michael, and he is with us, Boosted Gear, Regulus Nemi and Narid Kiri are with the devils, out of which 2 are right here in Beacon. Ozpin. Mr. Haidu and Miss Leviathan right. Azazel. Yep, as for Divine Dividing is with Volley, our spy for the Cows Brigade, Canis Lycan and Absolute Demise are with us at Grigori, and finally Tilo's Karma and Innovate Clear are with Mitsaya Kazanaki, who is a nice guy, that only leaves 2 longinus, and that is Sephiroth Grawl and Incinerate Anthem. Seraphil. That is nice, we have most of them, but why do you seem worried? Azazel. It is the Sephiroth Grawl, this longinus can be used to revive the dead and control the principles of lives as well, not to mention it is one of the 3 holy relics, you know what that means right? Seraphil dreaded this, while Ozpin was confused, well controlling life and death seems to be terrible to be on the wrong side, Ozpin then asked. Ozpin. What is it, Azazel? Azazel. If they have found the Sephiroth Grawl, a threat way stronger and deadlier than Salem will show up, they are so strong that they will not only crush us, but also will destroy everyone and everything. Ozpin now dreaded this, he then asked. Ozpin. Who is this? Azazel. The Beast of Apocalypse, Trihexa or 666. Azazel was afraid, this entity was responsible for the death of God of the Bible, if the Cows Brigade unseal him, then there will be a massive problem, not only to Earth, but to Remnant as well. Even Ozpin was more worried about this, he wanted to inform this to his inner circle, but even he is afraid on how they would react, especially Ironwood, if the word of Beast 666 gets out then everything will fall. Ozpin. So what now? Azazel. Once the Vital Festival is over, we might have to go back, worry not we will come back once we get the Sephiroth Grawl, but we must go back. Seraphil. Sorry Oz, but both worlds are at stake here if he manages to get out. Ozpin. I understand, both worlds are at stake, I want to inform the inner circle, but I don't know it should. Azazel. It would cause immense panic, for now keep it a secret, I will personally tell them myself. Ozpin nodded, after which Seraphil and Azazel returned back to their rooms, while Seraphil slept next to the kid, she really enjoyed being the kid's mother figure, and has started to care for him. Chapter 10. Beginning of the Vital Festival. The next day, Beacon Academy, 10:30 a.m. Anne Green was the one taking the class right now, she was a lady in her 20s, she had green hair which was tied in a bun, she wore a formal dress coating which was comprised of a black coat, a white shirt, and she wore a short-sleeved dress, she had fair skin, and wore a green-colored heels which matched her hair color. Anne. So this is how we can hide ourselves before the enemy finds us, any questions? Ingvild was raising her hand, Anne responded. Anne. Yes Miss Leviathan. Ingvild got up and asked. Ingvild. Won't enemies with thermal and night vision detect our movements? Anne. Indeed, Miss Leviathan, that is why we need to increase our speed and hide in an area which can mess up the scanners. Clever and quick movement also can confuse our enemies, that is an interesting question. You can also use electric dust to mess up with the scanners, since they may act as an electromagnetic pulse or an EMP. Ingvild nodded and responded. Ingvild, thank you Professor Green. Anne smiled in response before Ingvild sat down on her desk. Anne then spoke. Anne. Alright everyone, the Vital Tournament will be tomorrow, you will be facing against teams from other academies, this time Vale is the one that is hosting this Vital Festival and you may face against teams from this academy as well. I hope you have been training yourselves. The students nodded, Anne then continued. Anne. I want all of you to give your best, as there will be those you have never faced before, alright. Everyone, yes Professor Green. After which Anne leaves, leaving the students to discuss their plans for the Vital Festival, among them was Purah and her friends. Purah. So how is your training going? Weiss. Nice, I think I am strong enough to take on Haidu. Jean. And this time I will show that faker and disgrace who is the real deal. Purah. If that does not work then. Purah shows them an electric grenade, which looks like a large circular cutouts to allow the light and sound of the explosion through. It had a pin on its top side of the grenade and has a light container inside it. It had a pin on its top side of the grenade and has a light container inside it. Purah. This is a semblance disabling grenade, I had got this which allows me to disable an opponent's semblance, without his semblance he is nothing. Weiss. I see, we will crush him and humiliate him in front of the world. Bren who has had enough spoke. Bren. I can't believe you guys resort to dirty tactics to win. Jean. What do you mean? Bren. I know what I mean, and I am not supporting you guys anymore. Nora. Me too, I am not going to hurt fearless leader anymore. Jean. How dare you? You will follow my orders and Blake cuts her off, much to her anger. Blake. No, we will not. I am also done following you guys. Don't you see what are you even doing at this point? Weiss. As your leader I command you to follow me. Blake. No, I will not. Yang. Even I am done with this. Weiss. But I thought you hated them, right? Yang. Not anymore, I am done following you guys. If you want to try to ruin his life, go ahead, but all four of us are done supporting you guys. Nora, Ren and Blake also agree with the statement, much to the anger of the trio. Jean then walked to Yang and raised her hand. She then screamed, Jean. You will help us or else. Yang then grabbed her hand and started to crush it, causing Jean immense pain. She spoke, Yang. Or else what? Jean tried to struggle, but Yang's grip was pretty strong. Eventually Yang left her hand. She then spoke, Yang. You will not control me anymore, I am officially done. If my sister is happy with John, then so am I. Weiss. But as your leader Yang glared at Weiss, cutting her off in the middle. Her glare terrified the JIRI'S, it seemed like she was staring at death itself. Her glare terrified the JIRI'S, it seemed like she was staring at death itself. Yang. Let's make one thing clear, Shni, you do not control me and you never will. Weiss backed away out of fear, after which Ren spoke. Ren. If you want to harm him, go ahead, but none of us will and you will not change our mind. Blake. I am honestly disappointed in you, Purrit. Issei is right about you, you really are worse than scum. The four then left those three shocked, angry and alone. Jean then yelled, Jean. Damn you, John, damn you, because of you my team is splitting up. Purrit. Forget about them, we will execute our plan, nevertheless they support us or not. Weiss. You are right, we will crush and humiliate him, in front of entire Remnant. Jean. Yes, you are right, it is only a matter of time before we crush them. The three girls had an evil smile. As for the other four, they needed to find a way to inform John and his friends what the girls are planning, or else it would be too late for anyone. Scene change. Ozpin's office, 3:30 p.m. Ozpin had called John to his office for a small purpose. The council had called, and they managed to convince Ozpin to have a talk with him. John could see that the council was not fully healed. He then spoke. Ozpin. You know, Mr. Ark, it would have been a lot better if they would have actually called to make amends. John. Yeah, and it was not for you, I would have actually killed them. Ozpin nods and sighs. The council has been nothing but a pain in his teaching ever since it had been elected. They have been using their power and influence to cause nothing but trouble. The only reason John had not cleaned the trash is because of Ozpin. As John remembers what had happened an hour ago, he had told the team that he would be alright. Scene change. Flashback. John and Ozpin were called to the council where they could have a sort of civil conversation. There they saw both Calvin and Harris having a smug look on their faces. They then spoke. Calvin. Welcome to the council, I hope you like our surroundings. Harris. Please take a seat, you two. John and Ozpin did as they were told. Calvin then spoke. Calvin. So how's the surroundings? John. Meh, it has not impressed me enough. Anyways, why did you call me here for? John responded with a bit of intimidation. He did not like being here. If there is anything he hated more than his birth family except for a few and his former partner, it is the Winchester family. Ozpin. If you even try to threaten or hurt Mr. Ark and his friends and family, not even I can stop him from doing the unthinkable. Calvin and Harris understood. They gritted their teeth when they saw how quickly John and his friends dismantled the entire council like it was nothing. Calvin then spoke. Calvin. It is simple, we no longer want Mr. Ark out of Beacon Academy. Ozpin breathed a sigh of relief. At the very least there will not be a brawl here. Although John kept his guard up, he did not trust them. He knew there was something up with them. John. Headmaster, be careful. John mouthed slowly, which Ozpin understood. Even he noticed that the Winchesters will not give up so easily. Harris then spoke. Harris. But he cannot be a huntsman. Ozpin and John glared at him. There was always a catch. Ozpin then spoke. Ozpin. What do you mean by cannot be a huntsman? Calvin. It's simple, he needs our signature as well if he needs to have an official huntsman license, and unlike those fake transcripts, it is really hard to get a fake license, so in the end we still have control. Calvin responded smugly. John glared at him with the intent to kill. John. Then you don't mind a re-election, don't you? It took all of John's willpower to not slice off his head right then and there and murder everyone in the building except for Ozpin. He nearly took out his sword, but Ozpin kept his hand nodding his head sideways. Ozpin then spoke. Ozpin. I can make him a huntsman, Calvin, remember that, your signature would not matter, all I have to do is expose what you did in Beacon Academy a few days earlier. Calvin gritted his teeth at first, he then spoke. Calvin. Fine, you want to play it that way, Ozpin, then I propose a fight between the Mistral champion Puranikos against him. If he wins he will get our signature, if he loses, then he will never get our signature. Sounds good. Ozpin and John looked at each other and smiled in response, much to their anger. John. Fine, Winchester, I will play your game, I will defeat Purrit if it makes me an official huntsman, and let me tell you, you will lose big time. John and Ozpin walked away. Calvin and Harris thought that he could never beat the Mistral champion. They thought that they will have their revenge by crushing this boy's dreams. Scene change. Flashback end. John. Honestly, if it was against my team, then it would be a problem, they really are so out of touch, I will honestly watch them lose their smug smiles. Ozpin. I am glad it did not turn into a bloodbath. John. It would have if they would have continued trying to get in my way as I am concerned they are smug idiots at best and dumbus outdated fools at worst. Ozpin sighed, the council really did not care about the people, only the number of votes they wanted, and this would be a problem in the near future, all they can do is talk, they cannot threaten or attack anyone, they are nothing but a bunch of cowards behind a computer. Ozpin. I guess you should go to your next class Mr. Ark. John. Very well, headmaster. John then left the room, Ozpin then though. Ozpin. I just hope things don't go from bad to worse. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Issei trying to enter the Senate. Beacon Academy, 5:30 p.m. Linda. Alright everyone, today's matchup will be between Yudo Kiba and Jean Arc. The two aforementioned head to the changing room as Jean asks him, Jean. So you still hang out with my disgrace of a brother Kiba? Kiba ignores her and moves ahead to equip his gear, much to Jean's anger. Jean once again talked. Jean. I am talking to you, Blondie. Kiba ignores her, he thinks. Kiba. She is not worth my time. Kiba walks out of the changing room and grabbed his sword, he then prepares his stance, as Glinda announces. Glinda. The fight between Yudo Kiba and Jean Arc will commence, the match will end when one of the contenders reaches an aura of less than 25% or is unable to battle. Fighters take your position. Kiba got into his stance, he activated his sword in his hand, he had his sacred gear sword birth ready in his arm, Jean also got ready, she had a sword and shield similar to John's former weapon Crossiamores, she also got into her stance. Linda. And begin. Jean rushed at her and started to aim for his chest, however Kiba saw this coming, he muttered. Kiba. Amateur. Kiba activated his sacred gear, in just a matter of seconds, multiple swords came from the ground which were of different types, some were ice swords, some were demonic swords and many more. This forced Jean to fall back which made her grit her teeth. Kiba then brought out a special sword that was meant to fight against aura users, he then grabbed that sword and charged at her, when the sword clashed with hers, after a sudden she felt like she was losing aura, despite not being hit. Jean. How? Kiba. This is a sword I call Aura Drain, it is meant for absorbing an enemy's aura, this is something I created when I faced your former brother. Everyone minus John were shocked by this, Issei then asked. Issei. You knew? John. Yep, he gave me a tough time when we fought against each other, his aura drain was siphoning my aura when we fought, Jean does not stand a chance, her semblance is not same as mine, her semblance is aura defense, which uses aura to create a defensive bubble, it is so impervious to destruction that it made Jean the strongest back when I was with her at the Ark household, hence why she is so prideful and arrogant, my parents only looked after her instead of me. John said with a sigh, he knew that is the reason she survived so much in her combat class, back at the academy she was at before coming to Beacon, she is nothing but a prideful, arrogant woman who thinks that she is unstoppable with a semblance of hers. Issei. I see. Ruby. He could be a problem if he comes up against me. Rias. So he developed a way to face off against many aura users, he really is something. Bekeno. Agreed. Asia. Hey look Jean is staggering. The group looked as Jean started to struggle, without her aura, she could not use her semblance, the very thing that made her strong, Kiba then taunted. Kiba. What's the matter Jean, can't do anything without your aura. Jean gritted her teeth, but little did she know that Kiba had vanished from the area where he was, he then approached her in speeds faster than she could imagine and slashed her, Jean used her shield to block his attack, Kiba smirked, he then summoned his second sword and stabbed her in her stomach, her aura protected her. Kiba then used a sword ability to push Jean to her limits, making the blonde grit her teeth in frustration, he kept slashing her forcing her to either defend or parry, not to mention his aura drain sword, allowed him to siphon any and all aura that was coming into contact with her, she was forced to dodge, her aura was already down to 30% and any more would be an automatic loss. Kiba. It's time to end this. Kiba then activated his second blade, which seemed to be a clone of the previous sword, he then activated his dual blade stance and spoke. Kiba. Sword birth. Ultimate barrage. But that he charged at Jean and constantly slashed on her, 2 swords became 4, 4 became 8, but that was what Jean saw, in reality there were only 2 swords, as he constantly kept slashing at her, with the intent to take her down, he used both his blades in a manner such that she was unable to neither able to dodge, defend or parry. She screamed in pain as her aura reduced to less than 10%. Kiba. Thank Lucifer I stopped before it was too late. Jean was left staggering behind, but she was still standing, she staggered, which is when Glinda announced. Glinda. Jean Arc is unable to battle, her aura has fallen less than 25%. Winner of this match is Yudo Kiba. Kiba then dispelled his sword and walked away, he was then joined by his friends and team who all congratulated him for his success. Kiba ignored Jean who was shouting insults at the blonde knight he thought. Kiba. Should have knocked her out. Issei. That sword was really amazing. What was the inspiration behind it? Kiba. Remember my battle against the crazy priest Freed. Asia. Please don't remind me. Issei. Yeah. Kiba. The sword I used Holy Eraser that inspired this sword which I made instead of Holy Energy, it drains aura from the user. Issei. Nice. John. Anyways, let's get to dinner, I am starving. Rias. Me as well, let's go. Scene change. Beacon Cantina, 7 p.m. The group was eating their dinner. While eating their dinner, they were enjoying what was going on, with Rex and Jerry trying some new food of Beacon. They were joined by Team CFVY, who all wanted to hang out with them. Coco. Hey guys. John. Hey Coco, how was your mission? Coco. Pretty good, we managed to stop a Grim in a nearby facility. Rias. Nice, that is something good. So are you guys gonna participate in the Vital tournament? Coco. Yes indeed. Velvet. Yep, all of us will be participating. Yatsuhashi. And it would be an honor to practice my skills against you, John, Kiba and Issei. Issei. Indeed, I would love to spar against you in the near future. Fox. Speaking of which, I don't see them next to you guys anymore. What happened? John. A little intimidation can do wonders. Ingvild. Azazel, he scared them away and with him around, they don't even dare to come next to us. Ruby. So what is the plan now? Velvet. We will all be participating in the Vital Festival, after which we may fight against you guys. Don't expect me to go easy on you guys. John. Same Velvet, same. Bekeno. Indeed we also will go all out on you guys. Coco. Alright, let's just enjoy our dinner for now. Fox. Indeed I am starving, let's have our lunch. John. Totally. The rest then sit down and have their dinner, after which they have talks about what they were doing so far for the day. They were talking about their mission and what they were doing so far. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Ren trying to track Chibi Nora with pancakes. John and the rest of his team were heading back to their dorms with Rias, and her team joined in as well with them heading to their dorms as well. That is when someone called out to them. John. John and his friends turned around to see Ren and Nora. They both had a worried look on their faces. John then spoke. John. What do you want, Ren and Valkyrie? Nora and Ren flinched at the tone of his voice. It was extremely hostile. Ren then spoke. Ren. We only want to talk. John. What? Nora. Please, fearless leader. John. I thought your fearless leader was Jean. Valkyrie. Nora. She never was, we regret what we have done. Ren. I as well regret my actions, we only want to talk to you. It is about Purrit, she is planning something malicious. John looked him in the eye, he then sighed. John. Come inside, we will have our discussion there. If you try and hurt any of us, I will make sure you never even try to talk to me ever again. The duo nodded, they were fearful, one wrong move, and they will face the wrath of not only John, but also his friends, some of whom are on par if not stronger than him. Scene change. Team JIRI'S dormitory, 10 p.m. Ren and Nora entered John's dormitory with his 8 friends, they felt like they were prey in a lion's den. John then spoke. John. Talk. The voice was loud and clear. Ren then spoke. Ren. It is about what happened after Professor Green's class. Once you guys left, Jean wanted vengeance for her humiliation in front of the whole school. John. Of course, she would never learn. Nora. And that's not even the worst part, she is not alone, Purrit and Weiss are giving their full support to them. They have a grenade that they will be using in the Vital Festival against you and your friends. They will do anything to humiliate you and get back at you. John. Issei, are they lying? Issei. No they are not, Drake told me telepathically that every word they say it's true. He also said, and I quote, that tomato-haired bitch and that Schnee were up to something ever since your match, but he was not sure. Now with these two saying the truth, it seems Jean was also involved. Sorry Rias and end quote. Rias. It's alright. John. I see, and to think I thought they would change. Ren. Truth be told, ever since you guys have disappeared, I and Nora have been in regret ever since we knew you were missing. The ones that weren't in regret were Purrit, Weiss, Yang and Jean. They did not care about your life, they never did. Issei. They are telling the truth. Ruby looked down, after which John asked. John. What about Blake? Ren. She was both regretful and afraid, regretful because of her actions and afraid because her secret as her White Fang member being revealed. Eventually she ran away, however she was brought back by Weiss after accepting her. Honestly I had no words, this was the first time I saw pure hypocrisy on their part. They all accepted her. I and Nora did not know what to do. After that things only became more worse. Before that headmaster revealed Cardin's actions, making him almost hated. There were still some that were happy with you gone. A few of them were Purrit, Weiss and Jean. Yang fell into depression after Ruby left and we tried avoided them, but had no choice but to be with them, given we were a team. Ren looked down while saying that, after which John spoke. John. I see. Listen Ren, what's done is done. When Purrit abandoned me, the last person I thought would abandon me is you and Nora, but what's done is done, nothing can fix that, but I will see, is there anyone else that regrets? Ren. The whole beacon started to regret once the truth was revealed by the headmaster and Yang, who just started to recently after a while. It seemed like she awoke in her eyes. She is trying to change, even refusing the trio of girls that are trying to harm you. That's all she did, so it is only us four that are trying to change. Blake was among the two of us that regretted from day one, but the incident at the highway made you guys hate her even more. Bakeno. Don't remind me. Ruby smiled a little given that Yang is taking initiative to change into a better person, after which John spoke. John. Like I said before the damage is done, I will neither forget or forgive what you have done. Brandon Nora looked down, John then continued. John. But don't let yourself be buried in regret. I understand why you were so hostile with me, it was because you were afraid of losing each other after Kuroyuri's fall. You did not want the same thing to happen to your team just like your parents. You thought that since I was a weak leader, that I might lead you guys to your deaths, but know this, none of this will happen ever again. Brandon Nora looked up, they still had a chance. After that the duo left. Rias then spoke. Rias. Well, it's time that we head back as well. We need to prepare for the vital tournament as well. Any plan you guys have let us in. I would personally like to teach Pura and Weiss a lesson. John. We will Rias, we will. John smiles. Akeno then speaks. Akeno. Bye guys, see you tomorrow. Issei. Bye Akeno, Rias, Asia and Kiba. Asia. Bye Issei. Team Raka then left the room. Issei then asked. Issei. So what are we gonna do with those idiots? John. I have a plan. I have had enough of those three ruining my life. Vital Festival will be the time when they learn their lesson that, if they mess with us they will suffer. Ingvild. Don't let us out of it. I would like to teach the red-haired bitch a lesson of my own. Ruby. Although I am happy Aang is trying to change, I am appalled at how far Weiss has fallen. She needs to learn her lesson, and I will support you in stopping whatever plan she has. John. Thanks guys, now let's go to sleep. Tomorrow is a big day for everyone. Before then go to sleep. Tomorrow is another day for everyone. Jerry is recharging, while Rex, who listened to everything, slept next to Issei, given that he was also exhausted as well. Scene change. At an unknown location, 11 p.m. The woman was watching outside. She wore Haven uniform and had long flowing black hair. She then looked at her scroll. It was all going according to plan. This was Cinder fall. Cinder. Everything is going according to fall, and when the time comes, Beacon will fall and so will Ozpin. I will make you proud, my mistress. Ha 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 ha. Cinder then went back to her dorm, where Emerald and Mercury were sleeping. She then went to sleep. Tomorrow is a big day for everyone. Chapter 11. Vital Tournament beginning. The next day. Vital Festival, Beacon Academy, 11:30 a.m. The Vital Festival grounds, a place that was hosted once every 2 years. Last year Mistral was the location for this festival. But this time however Vale was the place the festival was being held. At the fairgrounds of Beacon Academy. Issei. So this is the Vital Festival. Ruby. Right, it looks so amazing. I wonder when will the tournament start. Rias. It would start in a while. I heard that Azazel Sensei was here to announce along with Professor Port and Professor Oobleck speaking, of which where are the others? John. They should be here in a while, let's just roam the festival around. Ingvild. Yep, I haven't had this much fun since our time at level 6.1. John. Oh yeah, that was the best. Rias. Am I missing something? Issei. A lot Rias, a lot. Our adventure was fun as well, some levels were really enjoyable. Kaneko would have loved level 6.1. Akeno. I see, so what is level 6.1? Issei. The snack rooms, where you can get any food you want. We had fun and I and Ingvild had our first date as well. Asia. Oh I see. The girls were giving a jealous glare towards Issei. While Ingvild blushed at this, Issei tried to change the topic and spoke. Issei. I see someone there, let's go and check it out. Issei looked around to see a red-haired man looking around for something. He wore a suit and had long hair. Issei and his friends immediately recognized him as Surzich's Lucifer, Ria's older brother and the current Satan. Rias. Ani-sama. Rias rushed to her older brother. Surzich's looked around and responded. Surzich's. Ria Tan. The rest also joined him. Issei then calls out. Issei. Big brother, are you here for the Vital Festival? Surzich's. Isn't it obvious? Issei. John. So where are the others? Surzich's. They will be coming soon. The rest of the orc, Issei's parents, Ruby's parents, my parents, Akeno's father, my wife and my son will also be coming here. Ruby. Ah, this is so amazing. Surzich's. Indeed, let's head to the portal which is outside. They should be here very soon. They all then head outside where they saw a portal opening, out of which revealed several silhouettes, first of whom were Issei's parents Garu and Miki Haidu. Issei. Mom, Dad. Issei rushed to his parents, as his parents embraced their son. Miki. How was your time at Beacon till now? Issei. It was interesting, we had some really amazing missions so far. Boru. I hope John is looking after you, my boy. John. Indeed I am, Mr. Haidu, he has not done anything I have not asked him not to do. Miki. Thank you for looking after my son, John. John nodded with a smile. The next one to come out of the portal were the Gremory family. There was another red-haired man wearing a formal royal attire, along with a brown-haired woman with a traditional green-colored skirt. They were Zeocetus Gremory and his wife Elena Gremory. Then there was a boy next to them who was holding a hand of what seemed to familiar maid with silver hair. They were Milica's Gremory and Graphia Lucifuge. Then there was a boy next to them who was holding a hand of what seemed to familiar maid with silver hair. They were Milica's Gremory and Graphia Lucifuge. Rias. Mother, father, Milica's. Zeocetus. Riatan, how are you doing? Rias. I am fine, father. Then Elena. So this is Remnant, huh? It is amazing. Milica's. Big sister Ria's big brother Issei. Rias and Issei. Milica's. Milica's rushes to Rias as the Redite embraces her nephew, Milica's, then looks at the others and asks, Milica's. Who are these two? Rias. Oh that's John Arc and the Rose girl is Ruby Rose. Milica's. It is nice to meet the two of you. Milica's bows in front of them. John. You too Milica's. Ruby nods in response and the duo bow in front of him. After a while 3 people come. They were Summer Rose, Taeyang Xiaolong and a middle-aged gruff-looking man with black hair, matching beard and a muscular body. This was Betrayal, Akeno's father. This was Betrayal, Akeno's father. Akeno. Father. Akeno rushed to her father and embraced him, and he did so in return. Akeno had become more open to her father ever since Issei connected the two together. Betrayal then spoke. Betrayal. How have you been Akeno? Akeno. I am fine, it is really nice out here. Ruby also used her semblance to rush to her parents and hug them. Ruby. Mom. Summer. Ruby I missed you too. Taeyang. So how is my baby girl doing? Ruby. I am fine. Summer. It has been a while since I have come here, I wonder how many people remember me. Taeyang. Mostly the professors and some students. We might go back to our world once this festival is over. Now I need to meet her as well. Ruby and Summer nod. They understood that he is Yang's father as well. He heads to meet her as she was hanging out with Blake, Nora and Ren. Then Elena. So his is Beacon Academy. Rias. It is amazing, much better than Kuo Academy. I don't need to hide my powers here. Surziches. As long as you hold back, it should be alright. Now where is Ozpin? Ozpin. Right here, Lord Lucifer. Ozpin was then seen with Glinda Goodwitch. He then spoke. Ozpin. It is nice to meet you, once again Lord Lucifer, Miss Rose, and Mr. Xiaolong. Summer. It is headmaster, it has been 12 years since I have last come here. Ozpin. I take it these are the people from back home. Surziches. Yes. Ozpin. It is nice to meet you Mr. and Mrs. Gremory and Betrayal. Zeocetus. Indeed it is Headmaster Ozpin, so where is Azazel? Ozpin. He is one of the announcers at the Vital Festival. He is with Peter and Bart right now. He will be announcing the tournament matchups right now. Surziches. Well what are we waiting for, let's head to the stadium and watch the matches. Everyone nods as they head to the tournament to watch the matches. Ozpin had to go to his office since Ironwood and his assistant Winter Schnee had shown up. He had gotten a call as Winter and the Aesops had a brawl. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Crow fighting with Chibi Winter. Ozpin's office, 12:30 a.m. After a fight that had taken between Winter Schnee and Crow Bronin. Ozpin had taken him along with Glinda Goodwitch to his office. They were joined by Seraphol Leviathan, who only had a sort of disappointed look on her face. They all then went inside to meet Ironwood and a lady, presumably Winter Schnee. Winter was described as a tall and fair-skinned young woman with slate blue eyes, dark eyebrows, and long white hair. The latter of which tied back in a bun that is high on the left side of the back of her head, along with bangs along right side of her face, and a small curled lock of hair down the left just above her shoulder. She wore a white long-sleeved coat with a single dark blue clasp around the center waist, holding it shut alongside a red jeweled brooch on the collar. The coat's length runs down to her ankles, and the sleeves are split from shoulder to elbow. She wears a white pleated sleeveless blouse with a dark blue waistcoat. A pair of white trousers with dark blue garters alongside a pair of grey thigh boots with black detailing around the knees. She also wore a pair of black forearm-length gloves with grey trimmed cuffs. Winter yelled. Winter. What were you thinking? Ironwood. If you were one of my men, I would have you shot. Crow. If I was one of your men, I would have shoot myself. Linda. Well I would not condone his behavior, retaliating like that, even I would not consider. Seraphol. Glinda is correct, you did create a lot of damage, Winter. Winter looks at her for a second and asks, Winter? Who is this lost sassy child? Ironwood. Remember I told you about an additional guest, meet Lady Seraphol Leviathan, one of the 4 Satans. Seraphol. It is a pleasure to meet you, and I am not a child. Winter. Right, and besides he was drunk. Linda. He's always drunk. Crow is seen drinking from his flask of alcohol, he then sees the 5 looking at him and stops drinking. Ironwood. You've been out of contact for weeks, you can't just go dark like that in a field. Crow. I am not one of your special operatives, Jimmy. I have seen things that no man can handle. Ironwood. I know, and even though I don't understand why we don't need the army, I respect Ozpin's decision. Crow. Well, good to know. I am out there, risking my life, to keep you guys informed. Ironwood. Crow, that's not. Crow. Communication is a two-way street, pal, you see this. Crow removes his scroll with a message box open. Crow. That's the send button. Seriously, who invited her? Crow points to Winter, much to her anger. Winter. Hey, Seraphil. What happened, Crow? Seraphil no longer was in her bubbly tone, she was serious, just like a Satan is in times of crises. She then spoke. Seraphil. Tell me everything, what happened? Ironwood. Before that, Winter, you may leave. Winter. But sir. Ironwood looks at her, Winter responds. Winter. Very well. Winter leaves the room, leaving Crow with the other people inside the room. Crow. Despite what the world believes, we are not just teachers, we are generals, we are headmasters, the people in this room, the other two headmasters of the academies, we are the ones who keep the world safe from the evils no one even knows about. That is why we meet behind closed doors, why we work in the shadows. So you tell me, James, when you were about to bring your army here, James, did you think you were being discreet, or did you not just give a damn? Crow and Ironwood glare at each other before Ozpin says. Ozpin. That's enough. Crow backs away and he responds. Crow. I have been out there and I have seen the things she has made, and let me tell you, it was disturbing to say the least. Seraphil. I see. Ozpin. I was right about her, but there is something that would make even Salem look like nothing. Crow, Glinda and Ironwood look in shock. Ironwood then asks. Ironwood. Who are you talking about? Fear was evident in his voice. Ozpin then continues. Ozpin. It is the Beast of Apocalypse, Trihexa, also numbered 666, on the bright side it is successfully sealed, so there is no issue, for now. The trio breathe a sigh of relief. Crow then asks. Crow. How strong is this beast? Seraphil. It took the complete strength of the god of the Bible to seal this creature away. It is worse than Salem or any of her Grimm. It has massive regeneration and massive durability. It is sealed in our world for now, but. Ironwood. But what? Seraphil. There is an organization called the Cows Brigade that intends to unseal the creature and wreak havoc on both of the worlds. All will fall to the beast if it is released. We need to stop both of these organizations before it is too late. Crow. Great, just great, another looming threat. Oz, can't we just have a fucking break? Ironwood. I agree, if this beast can terrify you guys, then we don't have a chance. Seraphil. That is why, we need to stop the people releasing the beast, and we will do it, no matter the cost. We will stop Salem as well if we want peace, we need to take them both down. Ironwood. Very well, I understand, I am glad you did not keep this hidden from us, but I want to ask you a question. Can you children fight this war? Ozpin, Lady Leviathan. Ozpin. We hope they don't have to. Seraphil nods in agreement. Glinda seemed to be terrified. If the beast wreaks havoc, it is game over, for both the worlds. Glinda. So what do we do? Ozpin. We need to keep this a secret. I will inform the headmasters personally. For now, this information should stay between us, only. The four nodded and understood, after which they left Ozpin's office since the Vital Tournament has just started. Scene change. Amity Colosseum, 1:30 p.m. The Vital Tournament had just began, with everyone minus the participants sitting on the Colosseum seats meant for the spectators. The Gremory and Haidu family Summer, Taeyang, Barakiel and Surziches sitting at the spectators. They were excited as their children were the ones fighting in the tournament. They came from the bullhead that lead to the arena. That is when Professor Oobleck announced. Oobleck. Welcome everyone to the 40th Vital Tournament. I am Professor Bartholomew Oobleck, a professor at the Beacon Academy. This time is the celebration due to all four kingdoms uniting as one. Every 2 years we do this tournament to see which kingdom can offer the best warriors. I will let Port and Azazel go into detail. Port then started to announce. Port. Hello, my name is Professor Peter Port. I will explain how the matchups will go. There will be several teams, and as they progress by defeating the other team, they will move until they reach the top where they will be the finalist. The one that wins the finals will be the winner of the Vital Tournament. Azazel continued. Azazel. There will be many teams that will compete in the first round. Elimination will be done by basis of win and loss. The winner will move on to the next stage. Once that is done, the teams will be divided into duos, and duos will be divided into single. The one that wins the finale is considered the winner, so without further ado, let us get on with the first matchup. The screen then rolled to show up. The matchup was between two teams. Azazel. The first matchup will be between Team JIRI from Beacon and Team ABRN from Haven. The crowd cheered when the two teams were called upon. While there were some boos from the crowd, they were still overshadowed by the cheers present. There were some spectators present who talked about it. Random number 1. Isn't it the team lead by the faker of Beacon and the murder of Cardin Winchester? Random number 2. Yeah, he should not be here. Random number 3. SHH, that team is not to be messed with. I have heard they destroyed the best of first year of Beacon students without even trying. Random number 4. From what I have heard, they even took out Nicholas Ark, along with several of the Ark sisters, one of the legendary huntsmen. If they hear what you said, they will crush you. The two haters calmed down, they were very dangerous if pissed off. As for the teams they had shown up, the teams were side by side at the arena, the match between Team JIRI and Team ABRN. Scene change, but the teams, Team JIRI and Team ABRN were looking side by side towards each other. They were in an arena that had one side nature biome and regular biome. The team was comprised of 4 people, Arslan Atlan, a woman with dark complexion, platinum blonde hair and olive green eyes. She wore a yellow robe with only one wide, loose-fitting sleeve over a black tube top. She also had black pants and shoes and a red sash embroidered with a wide endless knot on it. She had bandages on both her legs and arms as well as a red necklace and what appears to be 2 matching red sticks on the back left side of her head. Bolin Hori, a man with lightly tanned skin, amber eyes and black hair. He wore 2 yellow sashes, one around his waist the other over his shoulder, alongside a dark blue vest and grey pants with yellow lacing up his sides. He also wore black boots and black fingerless gloves and a dark grey beaded necklace. Reese Chloris, a woman with light green hair swept to her right, with teal eyes and fair complexion. She also wore 2 black facial markings on her cheeks. Her attire reflected a skater motif. She wore a dark purple hoodie over a mauve sweater. She also wore black shorts, as well as knee pads and elbow pads on her arms and legs. She wore black shoelaced high-top sneakers. Nader Shaiko, a man with long pink hair tied back into a short ponytail, with an undercut and the undercut portion of his hair is black. He had a dark complexion and blue eyes. His outfit consists of a cream-colored short-sleeved jacket with yellow details and a black long-sleeved V-neck shirt with cream-colored fingerless gloves. He wears black medium-length pants and cream-colored sneakers. Arslan. So you are John Ark, the faker turned into one of the strongest team. It is a pleasure to meet you. John. Likewise, so when do we begin? Bolin. As soon as the announcer states to begin, till then let's take each of the side, the forest side is all yours. Issei. Very well. The teams each took one side each, and that is when John planned, each of them will be taking down one person, even if they gang up on one person, the other will join, aside from that it would be a 4x4 matchup. Azazel. And begin. Issei and his team head towards the other team, with John taking on Arslan, Issei taking on Nader, Ruby taking on Bolin, and finally Ingvild taking on Reese. John goes after Arslan, who was surprisingly able to take on his strikes without flinching. He knew that this woman would be giving him a time of his life. Issei was facing off against Nader who was struggling against Issei, and he was not even trying. He was in his base form against a pink-haired man. Ruby was taking on Bolin, who was agile enough to dodge Ruby's crescent rose and was parrying with his staff abilities, and finally Ingvild, who was crushing Reese with her water magic. The aura bars were shown on the screen, with Issei having the highest, which was 95%. Since Issei and Ingvild did not have aura, stamina was being used as a sort of replacement. John was slightly lower at 89%, Ingvild at 89%, and Ruby was the lowest at 80%. However, the other team was something else. Arslan was at 70%, Bolin was at 60%, Reese was at 50%, and Nader was at lowest at 30%. Nader was the first to be eliminated by a well-timed dragon shot Issei aimed at his gut. His aura was immediately reduced to 0 as he had blindly charged, despite knowing his aura was at the lowest. His aura was immediately reduced to 0 as he had blindly charged, despite knowing his aura was at the lowest. Azazel. Nader Shaiko has been eliminated, his aura has been reduced to 0%. Issei then sat down. The crowd was surprised that he was not even trying, except for those who know about Issei's strength. He wondered how the others were doing. As for Nader, he was knocked out by the attack. Ruby was facing off against Bolin, who was dodging all the scythe attacks she threw at him. However, Ruby knew that she had to take it to the next level. Once she was done, she constantly twirled her scythe, forcing Bolin to use his staff to parry the attacks. He then used the staff to aim it at Ruby's stomach, however she nabbed it. She spoke. Ruby? Not so tough, are you? Ruby then used her scythe to chop off the staff. She then used Bolin's shock to her advantage and used scythe twirl to cut down his aura to 25%. She then threw at her distance using her semblance and used scythe throw as she cuts down his aura to 0%. Once that was done, Azazel announced. Bolin was also knocked out. Azazel. Bolin Hori has been eliminated, his aura is reached to 0%. Ruby then joined Issei, who asked, Ruby? I take it you are done. Issei. Yeah, should have gone for Arslan, she seems worthy of my strength. Nader on the other hand, well, hate to say it, but he could not handle my power. Ruby nods and she sits beside Issei. Now only Ingvild and John were left, and they were also completing their matchups. Reese was struggling against Ingvild, who had already taken to the skies using her 12 wings, given she was a Leviathan half-blood. She used her hoverboard to hover and maneuver through Ingvild, who used her water dragons to get the hit on her. However, Ingvild noticed this and aimed at her hoverboard, causing her to trip and fall. Rias then switched her hoverboard to her gun form and fired multiple projectiles at her, which Ingvild blocked using her wings. Seeing as there is only one way to end this, she fired one single water dragon at her, and this one was precise and huge. Rias was unable to dodge or block as the water dragon chomped on her and crunched her, drenching her and eliminating whatever ore remained. She was then seen unconscious in a puddle of water. Azazel. Rias Chloris has been eliminated, her aura is reached to 0%. Arslan was the only one remaining and she was on her knees. She saw on the board that her aura was on 30%. Despite using her weapon, she was unable to do any significant damage to John, as his semblance pretty much patched his aura up. She then looked at John, who was still standing. She heard her announcement that all her team members have been defeated. She knew she had to end this. Before doing so, she spoke. Arslan. I must say, John, you really are something. Same goes for your team. They were able to take out mine with everyone having their aura more than 75%. As a team leader you should be proud, but let's end this, one strike. John only smirked and responded. John. Very well, Arslan, although you have been the strongest to push me in my base form, no one was able to do that, at least no one in Beacon. The ones that faced him, like a certain trio of girls, were furious. They wanted to ruin his life, and they were determined to do so. Arslan then focused her aura into a single strike. She was determined to end this in one strike. She then tightened her fist and charged at John, who charged his blue Lux Moors and used his aura to activate his blade. The veterans noticed this to be an advanced aura technique. He then yelled, Technoblade slash. John then charged at Arslan, who had her aura infused fist ready. They both then passed through, aiming their strikes at each other. They were on the other side, with Arslan on one and John on the other. There was silence for a while with no moment until. Arslan. You truly are amazing, John. Arslan fell to the ground. John then unsheathed his blade. He then spoke. John. You too, Arslan, you too. John had a small smile to his face. Azazel then spoke. Azazel. Arslan Atlan has been eliminated, her aura is reached to 0%. The winner of the first round is Team JIRI. Everyone cheered, despite some boos. Many cheered for this team, especially the ones from Earth, Summer and Taeyang. They were all happy for the team's victory, after which the team went back to the changing room after reuniting with each other. They had won the first round. However, they were being watched by Cinder and her lackeys. She spoke. Cinder. These people are no joke. Emerald. I agree, I highly doubt we can win against them. Cinder. No matter, we need to contact him so that they can help us in our plan and nobody will stop us. Mercury and Emerald nod. They need to prepare for the final fall, the fall of Beacon. However, Azazel noticed a change in his scroll. He noticed Cinder was preparing her next move. Azazel. Huh, so that's what she was planning. Azazel had a smirk. Azazel. Let's play your game, Cinderfall. Chapter 12. Double Down. Amity Colosseum, 2:30 p.m. In the aftermath of the battle between Team JIRI and Team ABRN, JIRI'S had left to receive the remaining of the orc who had remained. They had also come in. Arena. So this is Remnant, I hope we are not late. Zenobia. Yeah, I missed Issei and the others. Kaneko. First let's find Lord Lucifer and we can decide what to do next. Ravel. He asked us to wait here, so let us wait. JIRI'S. That will not be necessary. JIRI'S had teleported in front of them. They greeted the Satan Lucifer, who asked. JIRI'S. What took you guys so long? Ravel. Apologies, Lord Lucifer, but Lord Beelzebub was actually fixing the portal, so I hope we aren't late, are we? JIRI'S. Actually you are. You missed Issei's matchup against Team ABRN. Zenobia. What? Arena. Knew we are too late. The girls looked down, while Gasper sighed at them. JIRI'S then responded. JIRI'S. On the bright side, you guys are just in time for my sister's matchup against another team. Asper. So did they win or? JIRI'S. They won, with ease. Asper. Oh yeah. rwby. Even I am interested in their matchups. JIRI'S. Now, come on, let's not waste any time. Rias will be starting her match very soon. The group nods and they all left for Amity Arena, the matchup where the arena was. Azazel. Alright people, the next matchup is between Team Raka of Beacon against Team ALMN of Beacon. The crowd cheered as the teams headed to the Amity Colosseum, where they were present. One JIRI'S appeared with the rest of the orc. They all sat down. As they say the teams appear, JIRI'S and Zeocitus cheered out for their daughter, while the others just sighed at their antics. Thankfully they stopped when their wives gave them a glare, making them flinch and sit down. The teams were standing side by side, with Rias and Amethyst looking at each other, both the girls having smirks on their faces. Amethyst Harlow was described to be a purple-haired woman with her hair flowing out in the open. She wore a butterfly ribbon on her left side of her hair, and had fair skin and a small black pimple on her left side of her face. She wore a casual white in shirt and a light tan out shirt, some track jeans and red sports shoes. Lekugawa was a white-haired man with his hair in a short style and had black eyes and pale skin. He wore a regular brown shirt and pants. He was in front of the group with an uninterested expression. Myrtle Blumenthal was a black-haired woman who wore her hair in a ponytail. She had a blue inshirt with a green jacket and wore trackpants and regular sandals. She had fair skin and had light blue eyes. And finally Nava, who did not remember her surname, was an auburn-haired woman with fair skin and her hair was tied up in 2 pigtails. She wore a red shirt, a brown pant and sneakers. She also had a belt tied to her pant, which had what seemed to be a weapon. Amethyst. Let's have a good match, Miss Gremory. Rias. Indeed, Miss Harlow. The stadium was a fire and ice biome. As the two teams walked to the side of their biome, they decided to make a plan to inform what needs to be done. Rias. Asia, you need to stay here and keep healing anyone that comes here injured. Akeno, take an aerial advantage and take down those that attack us. Kiba, you need to stall anyone that comes near me or Akeno. Got it. All three? Yup. Rias. Alright everyone, let's rock. Azazel. Let the match begin. Rias and her team minus Asia then rushed to the other team. As they saw only Amethyst waiting for them, they got alert as they knew that this would be an ambush since the others are missing. Lo and behold, 2 of them showed up from above. Lek communicated to his teammates at a distance. Lek. There is one of them at the top. She seems to be having an aerial advantage and one of them is hidden in the biome. I assume she is the healer. We need to take her out right away. Amethyst. You heard him, take her out. Kiba. Oh no, you don't. Sword birth. Several swords had appeared below Amethyst and Myrtle. As they dodged most of them, Kiba released his aura drain and went after Myrtle. Myrtle uses her weapon, a meteor hammer mixed in a revolver called Unyielding Belief, to defend herself, but that is exactly what Kiba wanted. His sword aura drain started to drain her aura. Much to her shock, her aura fell to 50% in just a snap. She went away and glared at the blonde knight who smirked. Kiba. Come on. Balance break. Glory drag trooper. Several dragon troops appeared in front of Kiba, as each of Terror holding the demonic swords Balming, Nothing, Trifing, Dane's Leaf. Kiba equipped Gram with him as one of the knights went with him, while the rest went after Lek. Lek was using his drill hammer called Bluish Longing to deal with the 3 knights, who had a portion of Kiba's speed to their advantage. Each of the swords had their own abilities, which was whirlwinds from one, destruction from the other, and finally ice from the third. Lek was struggling, would be an understatement, as the drill hammer and his semblance had his limitations. He could not concentrate since the knights were going after him at the same time. His aura was falling apart, especially because of the whirlwinds that were aimed at him, as well as ice shards that were thrown at him. His aura fell to a mere 30% because of the combined attacks. He managed to take out one of the knights with a well-timed drill hammer to the chest, destroying the knight, causing it to drop the sword. Dane's Leaf, he thought. Lek. 1 down, 3 to go. Lek had dodged an attack of destruction from the second knight, but he was left unguarded from a whirlwind attack which kept him distracted for a point-blank destruction attack which created a crater-sized hole, knocking him out of the fight. Azazel. Lekugawa has been eliminated. His aura has fallen below 0%. The team was surprised that their communication link between the members has fallen. Now Amethyst was getting worried. She had her hands full against Ria's Gremory, who was also pushing her back. She used her power of destruction to push her against the wall. However, she had a plan. Nava was invisible and she had gone after Asia. Akeno sensed this and created an electric barrier. Despite her being invisible, Akeno made an electric barrier which was a counter to her semblance. She had her hands tied and was forced to defeat Akeno. As for Kiba, he was still facing off against Myrtle, who had gotten enraged because of him defeating Lek. However, the 2 knights that were fighting against Lek had joined Kiba. As the 4 ganged up on her, her meteor hammer started to keep up with the destruction of one of the knights. She then spoke. Myrtle. I assume one of the swords is destruction, the second one is whirlwinds, the third one is sharpness, and the fourth one was ice attacks. Am I right? Kiba. You presume correctly, not bad. Myrtle had a small smirk on her face. She knew which were what, but that did not stop her from being pushed back. Kiba managed to not hold back with his knights and commanded all of them to use their attacks at once. However, Myrtle used this to her advantage and used the whirlwind and destruction attacks against each other, eliminating the 2 knights, leaving only one left, which was the sharpness one. Kiba responded. Kiba. Not bad, not bad. They really need some coordination in their tactics, but despite this you did well, Myrtle, but it is time to end this. Myrtle was breathing heavily, her aura was less than 20%. Kiba skillfully dodged her meteor hammer dust shot using his superior speed and unleashed several sword uppercuts, backslashes and upslashes, dropping her aura to 0%. Azazel. Myrtle Blumenthal has been eliminated. Her aura has fallen below 0%. Kiba sat down exhausted. He needed to recover. That girl did push him and he has not experienced this in a while. He then looked as Akeno was handling Nava, although he could not see her, while Rias was taking on Amethyst. Akeno was trying to scan for Nava's location. She was unable to be detected because of her semblance, but she knew that she could not hold her for much long. Akeno tried to sense her presence, but that did not work either, since she had hidden it completely. She was next to Asia as a sort of guardian, in case Nava did show up. She then sensed some rustling leaves. She aimed her holy lightning at her, causing her to get zapped. This exposed her hidden location. Her aura was already low, because of her semblance being extremely draining. Nava. Damn it, I need to use my silencer now. Nava took out her weapon but was too late. Akeno spoke. Akeno. Not bad, but this ends now. Akeno took to the skies and used her holy lightning to strike her down. Several thunderbolts came towards her, knocking her out of the fight. Azazel. Nava has been eliminated, her aura has fallen below 0%. Akeno then flew down and caught up with Asia. She spoke. Asia. Thanks for looking for me. Akeno. No problem, that's what teammates do. Asia. Speaking of teammates, where is Kiba? Kiba. Right here. Kiba then sat beside Asia and Akeno. He then asked. Kiba. Now only Amethyst remains, right? Akeno. Yep, I think Rias has gotten her where she wants. The duo nod as they watch Rias facing off against Amethyst. Amethyst knew that she is the only one remaining as her teammates have been eliminated by Rias' team. They were the top dogs of Beacon for a reason, and now she knows she had to use her weapon, which was an American long rifle that can mecha shift into a spear glaive. Its name was Purple Pruner. Rias recognized the rifle as one of them is at her armories back at the Gremory mansion. Rias then pushed her backwards, using her power of destruction. She managed to dodge them and used her weapon Purple Pruner to dodge the attacks using her spear abilities. She managed to keep her distance till she saw Rias stop attacking and have a smirk on her face. Amethyst. Why are you smirking? Amethyst asked with a little confusion, however the redhead only responded. Rias. Cause you are right where I want you. That is when all of a sudden a barrier of pure destructive energy appeared around her and Rias. Amethyst was shocked at this. Rias then spoke. Rias. Since you love to play cat and mouse, Amethyst, I have something special for you, my ultimate move. It's time to end this. Extinguished star. Although Rias had lowered its effects to not kill her and damage her severely, it was still effective. Rias had created a small ball of pure destructive energy and aimed it at her. This started to suck out her aura and her weapon pulling her towards the energy. It siphoned her aura till there was nothing left. Amethyst struggled as she started to lose consciousness. Her aura was being depleted to 0%. Azazel. Amethyst Harlow has been eliminated, her aura is reached to 0%. The winner of the second round is Team Raka. The crowd cheered as another team had won the match. Rias then helped Amethyst up, who woke up. She then spoke. Amethyst. That was an amazing match, Miss Gremory. Rias. Just call me Rias, Miss Harlow. Amethyst. Very well then, call me Amethyst, we should fight again in the future. Rias. Yep. After that Rias caught up with her team, while Amethyst helped her team get up. They respected the opposing team for defeating them, they really were something, after which they decided to go back into the changing room. The matches went on as usual with teams WBY, CFVY, JNPR, and SSSN, Penny's team winning. Cinder's team was also among the 8 that had won her match. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Issei siphoning Chibi Cinder's maiden powers without her noticing. Azazel was discussing about the next matchups. He had set them up to see who is facing whom, however his scroll decided to act up. Azazel. Huh, what's happening, why is my scroll acting up? Azazel then looked up to see that his scroll had changed the matchups from Emerald and Mercury against Rias and Akeno to Yatsuhashi and Coco. He understood that this was Cinder's doing, he then smirked. Azazel. First a white fang, and now blatant cheating. Very well then, let's play your game, Cinder fall. Azazel contacted and informed Surzich's, Team Jiri, Team Raka and Seraphil about this, and they decided to keep their guard up. Once this was done, Azazel then announced. Azazel. The teams that are selected for the next round are WBY, CFVY, JNPR, Raka, Jiri, SSSN and Team Cinder. The next round will be the doubles round. This round is where 2 people will be chosen from the team to represent it. The rules are similar to the team's match. Port then goes on as to who will be the one to fight in the matchups. He then saw his scroll for the first screen. Port. The first matchup will be between Team CFVY and Team Cinder players. Please choose the ones that will go for representing the team. Cinder. I think I will go for Emerald Sustrai and Mercury Black. Coco. As for me, I and Yatsuhashi will be going. Horde nodded as the 4 headed to the Colosseum to begin their matchup against each other. Before going, Issei informed Coco. Issei. Coco, be careful of the girl, she is the main threat. Coco. You got it, Issei. Coco and Yatsuhashi went to the stadium to begin their fight against the duo. They were warned that Emerald is the one that they needed to look out for. Azazel. The fight between Emerald Sustrai and Mercury Black from Team Cinder and Yatsuhashi Daichi and Coco Adele will commence. Both teams stood on each side of the arena, readying their stances. Azazel then announced. Azazel. and begin. Mercury decided to aim for Coco, since she is the team leader. Given his lack of semblance, the only thing he could rely on is his ability to use his kicks to gain an advantage. However, Yatsuhashi blocked his attack with his sword and used his semblance memory wipe on Mercury, dazing him for a while. Yatsuhashi. I will go for Emerald, stall Mercury for me. Yatsuhashi spoke quietly when Coco responded. Coco? You got it. Yatsuhashi knocked the dazed Mercury away and rushed towards Emerald. Emerald was forced to go on the offensive, using her weapon Thief's Respite, keeping up with Yatsuhashi's swordsman skill surprising him. She then had her smirk and used her semblance, which was hallucinations. Yatsuhashi was dazed for a while. He saw that he was actually hurting a child version of Emerald. The others were shocked for a while, while Issei and his friends were watching carefully as Yatsuhashi was completely dazed. Yatsuhashi spoke softly. Yatsuhashi. I can't hurt a child. Emerald saw this and swung at Yatsuhashi, lowering his guard. She then used her blades to aim at Yatsuhashi, which lowered his aura to 50%. However, it brought back Yatsuhashi from his illusion. He responded by once again using his semblance, which was memory wipe, making her forget for a few seconds what she was doing. Yatsuhashi used this as a chance to strike at her, reducing her aura to 60%. However, this was not enough. Emerald used her semblance to once again hallucinate him. However, this did not work and forced her to defend herself from Yatsuhashi's strike. Coco then used her weapon Jinduja to mow down both Mercury and Emerald. On seeing this, Yatsuhashi dodged. However, Emerald was able to use her stealth abilities to strike at Coco, preventing her from firing any more bullets. Her aura was reduced to. Coco then used her weapon Jinduja to mow down both Mercury and Emerald. On seeing this, Yatsuhashi dodged. However, Emerald was able to use her stealth abilities to strike at Coco, preventing her from firing any more bullets. Her aura was reduced to 60%. Yatsuhashi then faced against Mercury, who was able to constantly keep fighting, pushing Yatsuhashi to a mere 30%. Mercury kept pushing and kept kicking and punching, sending the man flying out of the arena, eliminating him from the match. Azazel. Yatsuhashi Daichi has been eliminated. His aura is less than 15%. Coco was shocked to say the least. Now she was vulnerable. Given that it was a 2v1, Emerald, who was concerned, asked Mercury. Emerald. Are you alright? Mercury. I am fine. These second-year students are really something else. Now let's take her down. Emerald nodded as the duo charged at Coco. She aimed her minigun at them, using mow down on her. She used her semblance hype to increase the fire dust rounds she was now using. She then fired them at the duo, causing Mercury to burn, reducing his aura from 70% to 40%. Mercury then unleashed a series of kicks, while Emerald used her semblance to put Coco in a hallucination, which dazed her, after which Mercury and Emerald used both of their attacks, knocking her aura to a mere 10%, forcing her to be defeated. Azazel then announced. Azazel. Coco Adele has been eliminated. Her aura is less than 15%. Mercury Black and Emerald Sustrai wins. Team Cinder is the winner of the first round. The crowd erupted in cheers because of the fight. Issei and his group pretended to cheer so that they do not get suspicious, after which the ground was cleared and Azazel announced. Azazel. The second match for this cup is between Team JIRI'S and Team Juniper of Beacon Academy. The teams then get up and move to the stadium. The team's friends and family members all wish them good luck since they will be facing against them. However, Team Jiri knew that Purah and Jean will be cheating. Velvet then spoke. Velvet. Good luck, John. Velvet spoke with a slight blush. John responded. John. Thank you, Bun Bun, I know we will be winning. Velvet smiled in response. She was worried for Coco and Yatsuhashi. As they came after recovering from their wounds, they sat down once John and his team left for their matchup against them. Coco. You were right, we shouldn't have underestimated them. Yatsuhashi. Worry not, Coco, we will get M next time. Yatsuhashi tried to cheer them up, but even he was angry for letting his guard down. He will make sure it does not happen next time. Scene change, but the teams. Issei and his team were discussing what needs to be done next. Purah and Jean had no idea that Issei and Ingvild don't have semblances, and John usually only uses his semblance to regenerate his aura, so their usage of grenades was ineffective. John then spoke. John. How about this, since I need to face against Purah, I will go and face her. If she does use her grenade, then I can use Blade Blacksmith to even my odds. Who wants to come with me? Issei. How about I go with you? John. I don't mind, what about the others? Ingvild. I am alright, make this interesting for us. Ruby. Yep. John. Speaking of interesting, Issei, I am gonna need your help. We need to humiliate them, will you help me? Issei. Sure, what is it? John then responded with a smirk. John. I want you to not hold back and crush them with their might, expose them to the whole of Remnant for the cheaters they are. Issei. Heh, consider it done. Scene change. Ren. For the last time, I will not use those grenades, I will fight fair. Purah. You don't want to humiliate John. Purah spoke with a raised voice. Nora responded. Nora. Nope, like Ren said, we are done doing this, you want to go ahead and get humiliated for the rest of her life, then go ahead, but we are done. Jean. As a team leader, you will use those grenades and Nora then got up and slugged her in the face sending her flying, she has had enough, Ren also did not stop her, she then spoke. Nora. I wish I could have gone back in time and prevented our past selves from ever letting you become the team leader and abandoning John, like I said before you and Purah don't control us, you wanna go ahead and fight, go ahead, we will stay and watch as you guys suffer the utter defeat and humiliation you guys fucking deserve. Ren. That's enough Nora, calm down, getting angry on them will only waste your energy. Nora calmed down, after which Purah helped Jean up as they both left, they left with a glare to the remaining team members who just ignored. Jean then spoke. Jean. How dare they disobey me? Purah. Don't worry, we will crush and dominate them, we will show the world how weak they really are, it will work. Jean. You are right, we will show the disgrace his rightful place, and we will crush his team like the ants they were. The two girls then smiled evilly as they left, they removed their smiles as they went outside, they saw that both John and Issei were waiting for them, they had a neutral expression on their face. Azazel. The fight between Issei Haidu and John Arc from Team Jiri and Jean Arc and Purah Nikos will commence. Both teams stood on each side of the arena, readying their stances, John activated his blue Lux Moors much to Jean's anger, while Issei removed his arms out, Azazel then announced. Azazel. And begin. Issei went after Jean while Purah went after John, Jean was angry that her teammate prevented her from going after him, however Issei asked John that he personally decided to deal with her himself, he never got to give her a piece of her mind during their fight against the Arc family days ago, which John accepted. Jean. How dare you interrupt me and Issei interrupted her and spoke. Issei. Shut up and fight already. Issei then charged at her and aimed a point-blank dragon shot which she managed to take on, which was actually surprising, he smirked. Issei. Maybe you are tougher than you seem. Issei then clenched his fists and spoke. Issei. Let's go. Jean. I will kill you, you son of a bit. Jean was unable to complete her sentence as a punch from Issei sent her flying, Issei asked Drake to boost his punch, he then spoke. Issei. Nobody, and I mean nobody, calls my mother a bitch. Issei yelled in anger as he approached her as he raised his aura, he was pissed, no beyond pissed. Mickey was happy at this, she really had a wonderful son that would defend her against the whole world, the others were happy as well, especially Rias and the orc and his father Garu. John then sensed this and spoke. Mickey was happy at this, she really had a wonderful son that would defend her against the whole world, the others were happy as well, especially Rias and the orc and his father Garu. John then sensed this and spoke. John then sensed this, he knew Jean must have done something to provoke him, he then spoke. John. So you have finally made your choice, Issei. Purah spoke with a confusion. Purah. What do you mean? John. Your idiot of a partner and team leader made the biggest mistake of provoking him, he may be nice, but that does not mean you should anger him, once he is angry, he is nearly unstoppable. Purah flinched at this, even if she somehow defeated John, Issei was still someone she had to deal with, and he was a monster of a person. Team Raka and Team Jiri knew that Jean was doomed, she made the biggest mistake of angering him, only Ingvild, John and a select few can calm or stop him when he is at his angriest, Jean has doomed herself. As for Jean, Issei was chasing her around, like a hunter nearing its prey, she was scared beyond belief, like the coward she is, she removed the grenade and Issei stopped in his tracks, and Jean spoke. Jean. Ha 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 ha, there is nothing you can do, I will destroy you and your reputation you will lose. Issei Hidodu. Issei. Do it. Jean. What? Issei. Throw the damn grenade before I slaughter you. The judges wanted to stop Jean and disqualify her, since it was not allowed to use semblance disabling grenades, since they are considered as unfair means, anything that is disabled as semblance disabling excluding other semblances, are considered as unfair means, however Issei wagged his finger sideways, and spoke softly, let her do it. They understood and watched the show. Azazel knew Issei would slaughter her. Jean did as Issei asked, however Issei was unaffected, Issei then spoke. Issei. Now my turn, balance break. Welsh Dragon balance break. The boosted gear announced it, Issei was clad in the red armor, everyone cheered, while some especially Cinder's team took interest in him. As for Issei he charged at Jean, he kept punching her in the face, every punch was boosted as it reduced her aura to 40%, she then fell to the ground lying and groaning in pain. Issei then walked to her and sat next to her, the boosted gear then announced. Penetrate. Issei then continuously kept punching her face as she screamed in pain, his punches started to breach her aura, and he kept punching her face. Over time, the speed of the punches increased, as she struggled to keep up, Issei made sure to reduce the pain, as he wanted to slowly torment her for everything for what she and her family, except for a few, did to John. The torture they put him through in his younger years, her trying to ruin his life, her trying to hurt him and his friends, her using her family to go after his and John's loved ones. But this is where it stops. Issei yelled while punching. Issei. This is for hurting John and making his life a living hell. Punch, Issei. This is for going after me and my family. Punch punch, Issei. This is for harassing him and us even after we did nothing to you. The punches started to increase in speed. Punch punch punch, Issei. This is for trying to ruining John's life using your family and a sorry excuse of your father to do so. Punch 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 punch, Issei. This is for ruining John's life again, tormenting him, harassing him again, destroying him on live camera. Now suffer the consequences. Issei then got up. Jean's aura somehow healed her face, but she still felt the pain of every single fist that Issei put her through. She wished that she had died. She was groaning in pain, unable to speak anything. Issei. I spared you once. If you come near me or my friends again, I will personally kill you. Issei spoke softly so that only Jean could hear, after which Azazel announced. Azazel. Wow, that was something. Jean Arc has been eliminated. Her aura has fallen to 0%. The crowd cheered at this. Many Beacon students hated Jean's attitude, cheered for her downfall. They hated her even more because of what she tried to do. Issei then walked to John as he saw John facing off against his former partner. He spoke. Issei. Need some help. Hurry. No, impossible. Those grenades should have stopped you. Issei. Yeah, you think our semblance makes us who we are, then you are wrong. Nikos, wanna know why? Because every single day, we fought for our lives. It was do or die in the other dimension. There were things that could kill us if we even let our guard down for a second. Semblance and aura would only stall the inevitable if we did let our guards down, but you would never understand. You have never gone through the survival of the fittest mentality. Believe me, we have seen things that would have made many people gulp in fear. We trained, we became stronger on our strength, but you never did. You betrayed the only man that would have given his life to see you live for another day. You are nothing but a cold-hearted traitor. Nikos. Purah flinched at the outburst. She then looked at the duo, as one had his red armor, while John was not even trying. John then spoke. John. Thanks, Issei, but I think no, I know I got this. John then activated her blue Lux Moors. Purah then threw her grenade at him. However, John predicted this and sent her grenade flying, which exploded at the edge of the arena. He then removed his second blade, which was Blade Blacksmith, and aimed it at her. Purah used her polarity to take away the swords. However, John summoned several holy swords, sending her flying, preventing her from using polarity. He then dashed at blinding speeds and kept slashing in an attempt to reduce her aura. He wanted to torment her. Purah used her weapon to defend herself, however it was not enough. John using both his blades relentlessly to torment her, with her depleting her aura at every minute. He then rushed and aimed a backslash at her, reducing her aura to 70%. He then waited for her to let her guard down, so that he could disarm her, making her drop her weapon, and once done, he did not let her use her polarity to get her weapon back. John kept slashing her until he reduced her aura to 40%. Given that her aura was the only thing that was keeping her alive, she had no chance of getting her weapon back, given the constant slashes that he was doing. He then spoke. John. Time to end this. John's blade then glowed both colors, blue for blue Lux Moors and silver for Blade Blacksmith. He was using his aura to enhance their abilities. He then charged at her in blinding speeds, which made Purah fear him. She felt fear for the very first time. She was now terrified of what her former partner was capable of. She wanted to say something, but John did not even let her speak. Starburst stream. John then unleashed a barrage of upper slashes, backslashes, front slashes and reverse slashes at Purah. She somehow managed to get her weapon back, but it was too late. He had disarmed her once again, and she took the full brunt of the attack. Her aura was getting destroyed with every strike. John then spoke during the slashes. John. This is for betraying me and beating me up. John. This is for stabbing me in the back. John. This is for supporting Carden despite what he did to Velvet. John. This is for ignoring Carden's actions for what he did to my friends, his sexual assault of Faunas and their torment. The Faunas in the crowd cheered, especially Velvet, who had tears of joy, while the professors and the other people cheered. The council was finally getting exposed in front of the whole world. The only ones that were not happy were the council, who gritted their teeth in anger for exposing them to the whole of Remnant. John. And this is for putting me through every single torment, betrayal while watching with a smile, letting Carden and his bullies getting away and even supporting them for what they did, letting Velvet and many other innocent people suffer while ignoring their plight. And even after that you still tried to ruin and harass me and my friends. Hurrah. Purah screamed as her aura was reduced to 0%. She had cuts on all of her body, and she fell unconscious once John had stopped slashing. He then glared at her before walking away from her unconscious body. Azazel then spoke. Azazel. Wow, that was an amazing match. Per Nikos has been eliminated, her aura is less than 0% Issei Haidu, and John Arc wins. Team Jiri is the winner of the second match. Give a round of applause to them. The crowd cheered when the match was complete, everyone saw the vital matchup and cheered for Team Jiri, they even called out their names. Well, the duo waved at them and walked with the teams, and once they were inside both of them, then jumped to their respective boyfriends and made out with them. Ingvild. That is for winning my love. Ruby. Amazing performance, DEAR. The boys blushed at this, they were happy that their lovers care for them, although they were happy that the other girls were not there to see this. Scene change, but Cinder and her allies. Cinder? What is he doing? This was such a good opportunity to instill fear on them. Emerald? He told that he would get his army ready. Cinder? He better. Mercury? Worry not, Beacon will fall tonight, and there is nobody that can stop us. Cinder calmed down and smirked, even Team Jiri could no longer stop them, they will show that the top dogs of Beacon are nothing. Scene change, at the White Fang base, Vale, 4 p.m. The tall Franus with a lean build and auburn hair that spikes backward in a windswept way was walking across the White Fang base. While most of his hair was red, he had streaks of brown. A noticeable trait of his appearance was the mask he wore, which obscured his entire upper face above his nose. His Franus heritage was a bull, as he had 2 reddish-black horns, one on each side of his head, also seemingly slanted back. This was Adam Taurus, the head of the Vale branch of the White Fang. Adam wore an asymmetrical black long-sleeved double-breasted stylized high-collared blazer with slit sleeves, along with red thorn sigils, adorned with a white crest that lined up on his left shoulder. His suit jacket had crimson lining atop his red shirt, with red thorn sigils atop a black flap attached to the bottom of the left hem, and his wilting rose emblem on the back over an emblazoned white sigil, resembling the curved stems and flower of the deadly nightshade plant. His blazer was half-buttoned, exposing a red shirt with a black line running parallel to his collar under it. His mask was whitish tan with red, Japanese-style, horn-like symbols decorating the front and 2 slits on each side, presumably to allow for vision. This is a redesigned version of the grim masks typically worn by most members of the White Fang. He wore long black dress pants, black shoes with red soles and black gloves with red sigils, resembling the Greek letter omega, the last letter in the Greek alphabet. He also wore a black belt with white domino marks on it. Adam then spoke with an accent. Adam. Brothers and sisters of the White Fang, we have waited for so long, but not anymore. Today is the day when Beacon will fall. We shall attack the Vital Festival, which is a symbolic unity of humans and Franus. Those filthy humans deserve to die, and those Franus are nothing but traitors to our kind, they all will fall. And there will be no one that will stop us. Today is the day we will have our revenge and those humans will tremble with our might. The crowd erupted in cheer, they wanted those humans to suffer for what they had done to Franus kind, and suffer they will. Adam only watched as his supporters will make sure they fall, but little does he know that he is nothing more than a pawn to Cinder. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.